FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on The Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
You got to help me.
Huh?
You got to help me get rid of Twitter.
I tried to last night, but you wouldn't listen to me.
I'm addicted to Twitter. It's a drug.
Please don't tell me you're still arguing with those people from Utah.
I haven't slept.
Oh, my God.
I haven't slept.
Man. You should be ashamed of yourself.
They should be ashamed of themselves. I'm a nobody in Dayton, Ohio, and they took a tweet of mine, and they have ran with it, and they have lost their damn mind. It's not like I'm hosting Columbus or anything like it's insane.
We are the home of the Buckeyes.
We're Dayton's home of the Buckeyes. We have that going for us.
How about this? Think of it from this perspective. You get paid to talk on this here microphone. You're giving away your thoughts and opinions on Twitter where you don't get paid. So save it for the radio where you get paid.
You don't understand. Like, you got to read some of it here.
Gosh.
So I can't even understand half these people, but this one guy is literally just going on and on about. So I complained. I said, I love the Rose Bowl, but I hate how the tradition robbed Ohio State of getting a better bowl game opponent, not a 3-loss Utah team. However, do your research. Utah's really good. I've gone into detail about how good Utah is to try to diffuse the situation. Doesn't work. So he goes on to say, that's not how bowl tie-ins work. I said, I understand that's not how bowl tie-ins work. There shouldn't be bowl tie-ins for exhibition games. If you're not in the playoffs, doesn't really matter. They care less and less about these bowl games. So you got to give them reasons to care, and forcing an Ohio State-Utah matchup when you can have Ohio State versus Notre Dame or Ohio State against even an Ole Miss or something along those lines that's more appealing. And you may find it appealing, and that's fine. But the point is I don't think there should be any restrictions on bowl games. I think that there should be no conference tie-ins to any of these bowl games because it's about trying to get as good a product out there as possible. He goes on to say, Michigan beat your ass and went to the playoffs. That's the reason Ohio State made it. They made it on accident. We made it by playing into the Rose Bowl. He's bragging about how mid-major is that? That's like Dayton if they make the NIT saying, yeah, we played our way into the NIT. But no, Dayton's pissed if they don't make the NCAA tournament. Dayton hates the NIT. They'll play in the NIT. They're not too good for the NIT. But the reason they look down on the NIT is because Dayton Flyers have high expectations for themselves. They view that every year is the NCAA tournament season. And that's how you're supposed to do it. I know me and Flyers fans butt heads every once in a while. But you know what I can respect? I can respect a program that at least strives to be great. And these fans, and again, this is one fan, but so it's just I'm dealing with stuff like that the entire time. They keep bringing up Oregon's loss. This is a team that lost to Oregon State, and then they say, well, that was early in the season. I'm like, we played Oregon in the second week. Do we only make excuses for that? And then they keep saying, well, we have 3 losses, but we're playing our best football right now. I'm like, it's not how it works. So one guy tried to tell me we're not a 3-loss team. We're a 3-loss team, but we're not a 3-loss team. We're playing really good football. I'm like, okay, first of all, this isn't like in high school when your teacher says we could drop your lowest grade. It doesn't work that way. You have 3 losses, you're a bum. Quit it. Ohio State's down year is playing in the Rose Bowl because they didn't make the college football playoff. We're all just trying to get jacked for this. These guys are throwing a parade. That's the difference in the standards. And so, I'm a child and I can't let it go. I can't. It's my biggest downfall. I cannot.
You got to.
I have to do better. I mean, my name is Justin Kinner, and I'm a Twitterholic. I have a problem. I do. I'm admitting it. Have no problem admitting it. Don't care if anyone judges me for it. I'll tweet you and call you a name. Let's do this. Let's handle this thing.
So how about this?
And Jerry Palm, by the way, this college basketball dude. I told him to stick to basketball. He went off on me about that.
How about this? You still can tweet your opinions, but leave it to say, get more of my hot takes or something like that on the Justin Kenner Show on 1410 Wing AM 3 to 6. So to try to get everybody that's you're arguing with on Twitter to tune into the show. And then that way, it works not only for your banter back and forth on Twitter, but they can tune into the show on the app, on old terrestrial radio.
On the app, one tap.
Yeah. Like, so, I'm all in it for the ratings here.
Eric Myers says, who the hell even roots for Utah from Dayton? They should be happy they're in the conversation. Also, go blue. You know what? I'll take go blue. And then they keep doing these weird sick brags about we dominate Michigan every time we play them. Super. Good for you. Like you guys, I could tell they're a losing football program or they're a loser program because they don't know how to brag. I said, I'm so used to dealing with the Alabama's fans and the Clemson fans and the Notre Dame fans and hell, even the Michigan fans. I'm used to dealing with a higher caliber of fan base that knows how to brag, that knows what to brag about, that knows how to bring it to the table. These guys are bragging about, they're bragging about the damn, whatever, the Cotton Bowl or whatever it was they played Alabama, and they keep bringing that up, the Sugar Bowl. They keep bringing that game up as if that's a recent thing. I'm like, that's over a decade ago, the last big game you played in. And that's what you're bringing to the table here. Give me a break. So, Eric, to bring that up, no, these Utah fans are not from Dayton. They are all from Utah. I am getting absolutely destroyed from Utah. Some editor out there, by the way, this was kind of cool. I've never been put into a list with Joel Klatt, but he went on this long Twitter rant about how me and Joel Klatt are what's wrong with college football. Let's be clear. I'm no-name Justin Kinner in small old Dayton, Ohio. I have nothing in common with Joel Klatt, but thanks to this loser in Utah, he says me and Joel Klatt are what's wrong with college football with the supremacy and the elitism and blah, 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 blah. He got ticked off. Let me find this guy. He blocked me on Twitter, by the way. Shocker. He blocked. I have a problem. I don't care. I know. I'm admitting it. But I'm actually also stalling to try to find this guy's name because, Matt Zemek. His name is Matt Zemek. Okay. He went off on me about elitism and how Joel Klatt and I are the problem. I said, what does Joel Klatt have to do with this? He's pissed off that CJ Stroud was invited to New York for the Heisman finalists, that Michigan State's Walker should have been invited. And I said, and he goes, but it's because of Joe Klatt and me and guys like me that guys like Joe Klatt and I, that Walker wasn't invited because it's all about the elitism. And I said, well, Pittsburgh's quarterback went and, that's Pittsburgh. No, it ain't the Steelers. We're just talking about, we're talking Pitt out of the ACC. Give me a break. And I said, and let's be clear, Walker, he was on pace to being a Heisman finalist. He kind of disappeared down the stretch of the season. It's unfortunate, but the biggest game of the season was against Ohio State, and he disappeared. He wasn't even the leading rusher on his team, much less in the game. He was a non-factor. To be fair, the game got out of hand so quick, you weren't going to continue handing the ball off, but Michigan found a way to utilize their run game. Can't look at the way Michigan ran all over Ohio State. You can't look at the way Minnesota and Oregon ran all over Ohio State and say, oh, well, Walker could have, that Walker could have been a non-factor for that. That's why he didn't get invited. He was a non-factor the last couple of weeks. CJ Stroud, even in his losses, was dominant. Almost 500 passing yards against Oregon, 400 passing yards against Michigan. So this guy goes on, and then he blocks me. He blocks me because I said that, Utah, I said, is a good opponent, or Utah's a good team, just not the sexiest of opponents. How can you say they're not sexy? And I said, this is a weird argument now. I'm checking out. And then he blocked me because I wouldn't agree, because he said, tell me how they're not sexy. And I said, this is getting weird. I'm done talking to you, sir.
So that was your night or that was your morning?
Oh, that was my morning.
Oh, gosh. How long did you stay arguing?
Some guy told me I need to go into witness protection if Ohio State loses. And I said, is that a threat? Then he called me a name. And I'm like, well, I still don't know if it's a threat or not. So, we're just kind of sitting here chilling.
How long did you stay at the station arguing with people on Twitter? Because little behind the scenes here. The show ends at 6. I pack up my bag. Justin and I chat for a second, and then I go home. I watch TV. I come back to work, the usual thing. But Kenner was over here typing his life away, and I said, oh, you writing a recap or something? And like, no, I'm going at it with these Utah folks on Twitter. I was like, you got to let it go. And I said, all right, I'll holler at you tomorrow. As I left the building, you were still here. So how long did you stay here at the building arguing with people on Twitter?
Oh, because Nora was mad at me, by the way. Nora was mad at me because she goes, you leaving yet? I said, yeah, I'm just finishing some stuff up here at the office. She was hangry, and I had to go to the store still to get food to bring home and blah, blah, blah. So because I was here till about 7.
Oh my gosh.
And then I'm also in line at Kroger, blah, 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 tweet, getting some bread, getting some eggs, getting some milk, tweet. One lady got mad at me. She did the passive aggressive because I was standing in front of the items that she needed. And I was like, oh, my fault. So I just kicked my little basket over to the side and tweet. So
you were here for an additional hour.
Yeah.
You definitely got a problem, yo.
I handled my own.
You need
these guys.
You need some help, man.
I went from not caring about this matchup, but thanks to the loser fan base of the Utes. All right. The Utes fan base is, and by the way, this will be a good game.
Yes.
Never said it wasn't going to be a good game. I just said at this point, if it's an exhibition game, why are we forcing conference, letting conference tie-ins dictate opponents? If anything, if it followed the NIT model, because it's basically what the Rose Bowl is, it's the NIT of college football now, right? The NIT used to be the biggest deal in the world for college basketball, right? Like the NIT was everything, just like the Rose Bowl was everything for college football. The NIT was everything for basketball. Well, then the NCAA tournament expanded, took off. That's the granddaddy of them all in college basketball is the NCAA tournament. The NIT, people look down on that. If Duke and Ohio State or, if programs like that go to the NIT, no one's pumping their NIT. Even the Dayton Flyers, who, like I said earlier, I butt heads with their fans. I know their, AD department, they're not a big fan of mine, and that's fine. But I respect the hell out of them for viewing themselves that way and pushing that program in that direction. And you can't get to where you want to go if you don't view yourself there. So I respect the hell out of the Dayton Flyers program for doing that. They even look down being in the NIT. They're going to play in it because it's exposure and it's a tournament. It's a chance to win a championship at some, but they're not happy about it. Ohio State, if they play in the NIT, they're not thrilled. It's not what you sought out to do when the season started, but you're there. That's Ohio State with the Rose Bowl now. Unless the Rose Bowl just so happens to be that season a part of the rotation of the college football playoff. Ohio State's not pumping their chest about being in the Rose Bowl. I guess it's the best of, it's the best of all the evils, I guess, and since we're not in the college football playoff, but it is what it is.
I wonder if I'm guilty by association.
What?
I wonder if I'm guilty by association.
Because of me?
Yeah, I wonder that sometimes. I wonder if I can go down to UD Arena and just be a fan, and they or people looking at me. That's that dude that be with Kenner all the time.
I don't think
guilty
so.
by association.
Everyone knows that me and you are completely different with the way we approach our takes on everything. Like, you're cool, calm, and collected right now. I'm talking a million miles an hour.
I can't believe it.
I think I have carpal tunnel, to be honest with you. My hands hurt today from tweet.
I don't know what I'm more amazed at, that you stayed here at work for an hour on Twitter on your laptop, which you can got a phone, you can do it on there as well. And I know you do. That you stay here for an hour, or that you actually were dealing with this the day after, the next morning, when you sent me that screenshot about the guy that you were getting into it this morning or last night. That was like about 8 o'clock. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this dude is really still going at it with these people, man.
It's how it works. And by the way, some of these guys on Facebook right now too, they're, because we're live on Facebook, the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash. So let's see. Doug Toby said I got out trolled. He said I just got out trolled. There was a stretch where I thought I was, but I will not stop. I won't stop. Here's the deal, Kev. There's a lot of people, and I keep calling people out. Why is it that 99% of the trolls on Twitter have a fake profile picture and have a fake name? I said, is it too
That's
hard?
them bots.
Is it too hard to ask you to defend your take without being a coward? Do you have to be, do you have to hide like that? That just drives me nuts as well. But I'm giving him the time of day by responding, and I shouldn't. But you know what? Nobody else does. But Kenner, I've never done it like everybody else. Got time today. Everyone tries to tell me, well, maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do that. I've been told to be successful at this, just be yourself. I'm going to be myself. And if I don't tweet at him, it backs up at me, and then I have these blow-ups on the air. So if I think you guys would rather me yell at the Utes fans than before I get on the air, then I'm more calm, cool, and collected. Cool, calm, and collected. What is it? Calm, cool. See, I'm all flustered.
Cool, calm, and collected.
There it is. But Doug Toby says, you just got out-trolled. Eric, he says, the guy blocked him. Clearly, Kenner is the better troll. Exactly. Because half these people don't expect you to go back at them, and then when you do, they start backpedaling. So there you go. I don't back down. I keep going. Everyone's like, you don't have a lot of followers on Twitter. It's because I'm annoying and I keep losing followers. I keep losing followers because they're tired of seeing me go back and forth with everybody. Oh,
everybody.
So, yeah, David Shaw says, I respond all the time as well. You and I are on the same page.
See, look at you guys.
All right, that's it.
Bosom buddies.
That was my wake up call. Got to change. Can't be like Shaw. WWSD.
Tight light right.
What
man.
would Shaw do? Do the opposite. Do the opposite.
That's all it took.
Oh, no, I'm going to probably keep going. I mean, I'm antsy now. I haven't hit update on Twitter right now. But yeah, the fact that Jerry Palm or whatever the hell his name is went off on me. I'm like, what the hell? Like, that kind of threw me off.
You're the big time now, man.
No, I'm not.
Out there with people that's verified. Joel Klatt. Maybe Joel Klatt will come on the show.
Well, me and Joel Klatt are what's wrong with college football, apparently, according to that weirdo in Utah or Seattle, wherever the hell he is. That's the thing. And half these people aren't even from Utah, and they're chirping. So, is what it is. Oh, look, see, now some guy named Josh Fox, he just... I made an insult to him, and he came back at me with just a picture of me. I think he wins that one. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. That is good. That's good. It is what it is. All right, folks. So because I have such a problem with the bowl game layouts. Like, by the way, there are a lot of really good bowl games, and it's difficult to piece it all together. And I get that, but the thing is, what are there? How many bowl games are there? Like 60?
What is this? Let me make sure.
Is that high? But either way, there's a ton of teams playing. I mean, the fact like LSU's not playing in one, they're under 500. Like a lot of teams like that. Like I found that interesting. But the bottom line is I know people view the bowl games as they're not relevant because the only thing that matters is the college. 43 bowl games. Okay. You're not going to have 43 kick-ass bowl games. You're just not. Of those 43, probably 30 of those 43 bowl games are just money dump games. They're, you're still going to get some good games from time to time. There's going to be some interesting storylines, but you have 10 of those 40 plus games. Does that include the playoff, by the way?
I don't know. That's a good question.
So let's say it's 43, the two semifinals, the 41, 42, and 43 are your two semifinals and your championship game. Those other 30 of those 40 are just money grab games. You're going to have some good matchups here and there, but let's be honest. You're a diehard college football fan. Are you watching every 40 of those games?
I'll probably watch most of them. Whatever ones are on.
So that's why you're leaving me here to work by myself?
Yeah, that's why I'm off for 2 weeks. Okay, I'm just going to be watching bowl games.
That's your PTO. That's your BTO, your bowl game time off.
I looked at the schedule. There's about, I would say, at least 10 that I really want to watch. Now, will I watch them?
So that's, yeah.
Well, a lot of them come on at 3:00 on a Saturday. I've basically been in the house every single Saturday all season long, and the wife allows me to do that because she knows college football is my favorite sport. So after the season is over, look, man, we got to do this Christmas shopping. We're going to be going places, so I probably won't watch a ton of them, but I'll definitely be watching at least 10 non-college football championship games, at least. Yeah, and real quick, Eric Meyer says, you may have upset Utah, but all the smack talk is why we tune in. Exactly. That's what sports is. It is just smack talk back and forth. Like, the complaints that we have had in years past is that it's been too much Ohio State. It's just Ohio State wall to wall, which I never thought you could have too much Ohio State. But one of the big, when we got some, we did like a questionnaire thing for some listeners, and everything that came back was, I'm a Ohio State fan, but it's too much Ohio State. But when we got that questionnaire back, it was right at the beginning when Mark Neal had left. Mark Schlemmer had just come in. We changed everything here at the station, Kev. We've done this big questionnaire thing. It was too much Ohio State talk. We want more Browns. We want more Bengals. People complain because I talk too much Browns Bengals, but you guys are why we do that. Now, some of you are saying, well, I didn't get that questionnaire. Maybe we need to redo it. But the bottom line is more NBA.
Everything that I have, set this show on has been based on what we got back from those questionnaires and those evaluations. So with that being said, it is interesting that when you hear about, everyone's opinion on sports radio, by the way, keep in mind, not one radio host in the history of the world will make everyone happy. There's no such thing. That's why when you always you cringe when I say, well, then turn it off. Because the bottom line is, you're 100,000 people listen to your show. Super. 100,000 people are not going to like you. 100,000 people are not going to like your show. So if one of those people says, man, I don't think I can listen to you anymore because you say this, this, and this, I'm going to be like, well, okay, I'm not going to, because what I do works for more people than it doesn't work. So I'm not going to stop what I'm doing for the people that it doesn't work. It's either get on board or go find something else. We're the only local sports talk show in town. We have the best show in town and the worst show in town. Both could be true. Man, he has the worst show. You're right. I also have the best show. So I don't know what you want me to say to that. Like, it's Dayton. I don't know what you want me to say. We are beyond fortunate that we have a local sports talk show here, and it is what it is. But sports talk at work, Kev, going back to my days before radio, that's all sport. All of my friends, even when I played basketball and everything, like everyone had their own teams. It was nothing but trash talk. That's all it is. That's all sports talk is. It's just, banter back and forth. Yes. Opinions. Yes. Trash talk. Yes. Blah, blah, blah. But people get so offended. Like that Mikey call. There was someone that jumped in the comment right away. Oh, that's your listener that you're talking to. Well, not anymore. Hang up on him. He called me a fat behind.
Twice.
And I didn't hear either of them. By the way, I really wonder what my reaction would have been if I would have heard him. I don't know. I would have laughed because I was pretty ticked off. I wouldn't have got even more mad. But there's something about Mikey's voice and the fact that he was angry and the fact that he went to the name calling part. I would have laughed hysterically. I probably could have used it. I probably could have. It is what it is. Today feels like a Friday, by the way. It's very loosey-goosey.
It is only Tuesday.
Jason Fitz texted. No Jason Fitz today. He's going to join us tomorrow. And I'll read you his text that he sent earlier because it was pretty funny. And I'm not going to tell him. No,
he's running from Shaw.
He goes, "Hey, I got the day off today. Could we do tomorrow instead? I'm going to get day wasted."
Yeah.
So Fitz is getting day wasted.
That will be a great interview.
And that's what I told him. And he goes, it would probably work well for the crowd here in Dayton. He said it probably wouldn't work well for the higher ups. I said, fair enough. I still like a dream show would be you do a 2-hour show and you're just drinking the entire time. And I would love to hear the difference from how the show starts to how the show ends.
From hour 1 to hour 2.
Yeah.
To hour 3.
I'm not saying it's that creative of a thing, but I'm just saying better than drinking water the whole time. But okay, I got to get back on track here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm all over today. Just to let you know, all over. But all right, so C.J. Stroud, we talked about him getting invited to New York for the Heisman. C.J. Stroud, the Pickett kid from Pittsburgh. Obviously, you have your Alabama quarterback as well. And then who am I missing? Hutchinson from Michigan. I did not forget him on purpose. Gosh, I still see him in my sleep, man. Like he is still a nightmare. But yeah, Jones and everybody will be there, but we'll talk about more of that later. So anyways, I complained about the bowl format and everything. I don't think there should be any conference tie-ins to bowl games. The purpose of the bowl season is, yes, for them to make money. But if you're going to have all these big branded teams, keep in mind, there's only 4 playoff spots. Those are 4 really good brands and teams that are in there, but there are also a handful of legitimate programs that you could make some good programming with if you do the right matchups. And I'm not saying that they failed. Like, okay, so here are the current schedule as is, Kev. Here are my favorite bowl games. Notre Dame and Oklahoma State. I love that matchup. Oklahoma State lost in the Big 12 championship game. Notre Dame didn't play in a conference championship game, but Notre Dame, since losing to Cincinnati, is a much different team now than when they lost to Cincinnati, playing really good football. And I believe Marcus Freeman's coaching, correct?
Yes.
So they're going to go out there just, jacked up. I love that matchup. Oklahoma State's coming off that tough loss in the Big 12 championship game. They're going to want to end the season on a positive note. Like those two, they're going to play. They're going to play for something, right? And that's the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. I love that one. My favorite of all of them is Michigan State and Pittsburgh. That Pickett kid is really fascinating to me. Is it Kenny?
Yes.
Is that Kenny Pickett? He's fascinating to me and really good. I watched him for the first time in that ACC title game, and I had heard about him. Everyone was kind of, that's the name. And this happens every year, by the way. We head into a season where we're not talking about any quarterbacks, and then all of a sudden by the end, there's this guy that comes out of nowhere, and we're going to talk a ton about him. Every year that happens. Even if we head into a season, like, heck, Sam Howell, we don't talk about him. We're not talking about half the quarterbacks that we thought. Spencer Rattler, in the transfer portal. Quinn Ewers in the transfer portal now. Like, all the guys that we thought we would be talking about coming into the year are not who we're talking about right now. And then the guys we are talking about, like Pickett, we didn't think about him. But Pickett against Michigan State's defense, Pickett has a chance to play his way into the top 10 of the NFL draft coming up.
And Addison, their wide receiver for them, he's going over 200 yards. Michigan State, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. He's going to go over 200 yards because they're going to air it out on them because Michigan State's secondary is garbage. Their front four,
I thought they looked pretty good.
It is decent, but the secondary is terrible. Addison is one of the better receivers in college football. Obviously, Pickett is probably the top 3 quarterbacks in college football. He's going to air it out. He's going to light them up. Now, can they stop the run? We're going to see about that. We're going to see what Michigan State does. But, yeah, that's definitely a good matchup.
But yeah, I love that again. But that, this is why it's a big game, is because it's a chance for Pickett to play his way into the top 10 of the NFL draft. And to be honest, this isn't the only way he's going to play into that. He can end up having a good combine, and then that's going to be the case. But this is a quarterback and a name to keep an eye in the ear out for as far as that's concerned. The other game I really like, Oregon and Oklahoma. I mean, that's a brand game. That's just 2 good brands going head to head. Will it be more entertaining than Notre Dame, Oklahoma State? Probably not. Will it be more entertaining than Michigan State and Pittsburgh? Probably not. But I that's a matchup that if I have nothing to do, I'm going to watch that. It's the Valero Alamo Bowl. Remember the Alamo, or try to. I don't know how good this game will be, but I like the bigger name matchups. I'm a elitist. So another really good one. How about Florida and UCF?
Mm-hmm.
I love that Florida UCF bowl game matchup, Kev. That's the home mortgage. Was it Gasparilla Bowl?
Gasparilla Bowl, yeah.
Give me a break. But UCF and Florida. the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl, whatever. UCF and Florida, though, that's going to be a good one as well. Florida, new coach as well. Gus Malzahn. By the way, are you surprised with all of the head coaching vacancies that Gus Malzahn stayed put at UCF?
I'm not surprised. He just got there. And, when you kind of like go down a level in college football, they want you to prove it again. I mean, we saw what's the old boy at Liberty, used to be the head coach at Ole Miss. Yeah, Hugh Freeze. He had his incidents and everything like that. So now he's quote unquote paying his penance at Liberty, and had Liberty ranked last year. And they got Malik Willis is going to get drafted.
He wasn't talking about. Freeze got that huge contract extension too. He's making about $6 or $7 million, which is a lot for that program
at Liberty.
Yeah,
Liberty. So they want you to kind of pay your dues again, and I'm sure he'll get that program up and running, and he'll be back in the SEC, just like Lane Kiffin was back up in the SEC after paying his pittance at Alabama as the OC, and then doing 2 years at FIU, having them one of the highest scoring teams in college football. So, they pay their dues and get right back to where they want to be.
But those are my favorite bowl games as of right now that are scheduled. I'm going to give you how I would have scheduled these games coming up, or at least give you a couple of those. But Kev, what are some of your top bowl games?
You hit on a ton of them. Obviously, the Sparty Pitt game, that's huge. I definitely want to watch that. The Notre Dame Oklahoma State, that's the Fiesta Bowl. Absolutely tuned in for that, because that's going to be the first time Marcus Freeman is the head coach of Notre Dame, so definitely going to be tuning in for that. Obviously, the Buckeyes in Utah. I mean, I think that goes without saying for me. Another one.
Real quick, would you have kept Freeman away from this game?
No.
If you're the AD, just because you lost a big name coach in Brian Kelly. Marcus Freeman was a heck of a name to replace him with. But wouldn't that be really painful if Notre Dame, they lose this bowl game, and that's not the lasting memory, but like I don't know. I would have almost protected the perception of the move. You don't want doubts heading into the offseason, like if they don't look good, which again, a lot can happen. I mean, they could look really good in this.
I mean, he was going to be coaching anyway because he's a defensive coordinator, so he's going to be there anyway.
That's true. And you're not going to have Breeze or whatever be the head coach when that or at least the interim coach, because we already know you have a head coach. Just Lincoln Riley's not coaching,
right?
USC's not even in a bowl game, so that made it pretty simple for them. Never mind, you're right. That wouldn't have made sense to sit them because it is what it is. I just meant, let's say they lose this bowl game. Mm-hmm. Now you've lost all that momentum. Like there's a ton of momentum with Notre Dame right now. You feel like you're going in the right direction, and a loss wouldn't mean you're not, but you know how a loss can shift the mindset of things. So that's why I'm like, it's kind of a risky thing, but Notre Dame had no choice. You had to hire Freeman. You had to, well, you didn't have to, but you had, you wanted to hire him then. There's a game coming up. You're right. He was on the staff, and usually if a coach leaves, the staff just kind of coaches that bowl game and off you go. But anyways, keep going with it.
The one that you didn't mention that's big for me is the Cheez-It Bowl going down Wednesday, December 29th. Clemson versus Iowa State. Clemson, a down year, and they could potentially go for their 10th win in the Cheez-It Bowl versus Iowa State. Now, Iowa State isn't as good as they've been in the last 2 seasons and everything like that, but Matt Campbell has always seemed like like a hot candidate for every coaching position out there, but he seems to stay at Iowa State. So this is huge for Clemson. And another reason why these bowl matchups really matter, we talk so much about the transfer portal, and like I believe there's over 300 kids in the transfer portal right now that are leaving their schools and everything like that. People may be already thinking about next year and everything like that, with coaches leaving and players leaving and yada, yada, yada. But a lot of these guys are going to come back next year. Like DJ Uiagalelei, probably butchered that.
I always do well to that last part.
DJ is going to be coming back for Clemson for his junior year. So this matters to him. So every player out there isn't transferring. Everybody isn't leaving their current situation or going pro or going to a different school. Some people, some coaches are returning, and I do believe that you can carry momentum from a bowl victory into the next season, and especially when you're coming off a bad season like he did on a personal level with a lot of turnovers and everything like that. You need something to build off of. So I think this is a huge opportunity for Clemson to get their 10th win of the season, and I mean that'd be something that they can hang their hat on and say, all right, we had a rough season, but we found enough to win 10 games and everything like that. So I think this is a big opportunity for Clemson and an opportunity for Iowa State to say, hey, that's still Clemson on the other side. Like, they've had a history of beating Texas and beating Oklahoma and everything like that. So for Iowa State, they still going to see Clemson that's been in the playoff and everything like that. So I think that's going to be a big time matchup. Their running back is pretty good as well. So I'm looking forward to that game.
Notice between the two of us, no Ohio State and Utah.
I said Utah. I mean, that was number one for me.
Oh,
that's number one for me.
Quickly, and apparently I wasn't paying attention.
That's number one for me.
I was reading another tweet. But why is it number one for you? Because it's Ohio. No matter who they would have paired, you would have put there.
Absolutely, it's Ohio State Buckeyes. But for our storyline lovers out there, obviously, Travion Thompson, he's from Dayton, Ohio, went to Dunbar, was not recruited by the Ohio State.
I feel bad that he has to play in front of all those stupid fans out there. The only smart fans that are Utah fans are his family, him, and any supporters here in the Dayton area of Utah football because of him. But outside of that, all Utah fans are the worst. So, but if you support Utah because of the local tie-in, more power to you. He even has my support, and I'll support that side of it. But outside of that, no.
So he went to UC, played for Fickle down at UC as a freshman. I think he ran for over like 600 yards as a freshman, ended up transferring to JUCO, then transferred to Utah, looking to make the move to the NFL. So obviously this is tough because we want local kids to do so well and everything like that, but they're playing our beloved Buckeyes. So obviously we want to shut them down. But hey, with our run defense, he might run for $2. As long as we win, I guess. You can go for 300. As long as we win, I guess I'll be happy.
So I have 5 games. I have 5 matchups that I would have preferred to see than the ones that we have in front of us. And so these matchups aren't bad. I'm going to watch UCF in Florida. I'm going to watch Michigan State in Pittsburgh. All right. I'm going to watch. And by the way, we don't include the playoff. Of course, we're going to watch those. That's a given. I'm saying. So yeah, I have some good ones coming up. I'm curious what Kev has on his list as well. But Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, that's a good one. Michigan State, Pitt, UCF in Florida. These are the actual bowl games. But since I know it all, and I was complaining about Ohio State having to play Utah, I have a list of games of how I would have scheduled these big name opponents to make at least the bowl season a little bit more, something to look forward to. There are still matchups to look forward to, but I still think that there was some meat left on the bone, if you will. But we'll give you our top 5 bowl games when we come back that we would have liked to have seen based on how the season played out. We'll be back in a moment. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Shout out to Brad, Orion Sports Medicine, and Tim's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. We'll be back in just a moment.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on ESPN 1410 Wing AM.
What makes the holidays so magical? Oddly enough, it's not magic. It happens when something appears right when you need it, like the holiday gifts you ordered and had delivered with the Home Depot app. Or when you can build something out of nothing by watching our holiday how-to videos. Or when you know what an object is just by snapping a photo with image search on our app. These things don't take magic. Nope, you just need the impressive technology behind our app. Make the holidays yours with a little help from the Home Depot app. How doers get more done.
Heard you're buying a car. I brought my calculator.
Dad, I already used Capital One Auto Navigator. I found my car online and got pre-qualified instantly, instead of all that.
You know those things impact your credit score.
Didn't impact my credit score, Dad. Now I'm going to the dealership for a test drive and to make the purchase.
Sounds too easy.
No, it's just easy. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms and conditions apply. Find out more at CapitalOne.com/Auto Navigator.
If you need new roofing, siding, or gutters, skylights, or patio enclosures, if you're a homeowner or business and need someone you can trust, don't take a chance. Enhance with Lance. Lance Roofing and Siding in Fairborn has been satisfying customers since 1993 and hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Lance Roofing and Siding, 8460 Dayton Springfield Road in Fairborn. Call for a free estimate at 864-2722. That's 864-2722 or online at lanceroofing.com.
Take home Fricker's Holiday Feast. Frickin' yum, 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 yum. Our gift cards always pleased. Frickin' yum, 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 yum.
Take home 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks for only $29.99, carry out only. Buy a $25 Frickers gift card and you'll get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. The ho, ho, ho! For fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Frickin' yum, yum.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street are huge supporters of the Dayton Flyers. Whether you're one of the 13,000 fans cheering on the Flyers at UD Arena or one of the hundreds of fans packed inside Tim's on game day, there is only 2 places that you can feel the passion of the Flyer faithful more than anywhere else. Timothy's Bar and Grill is also a sponsor of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash in the afternoons and the Talking Out Loud Hour on Thursday nights with Sully. Timothy's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. Go Flyers.
Start your holiday gift giving with Esther Price Candy's traditional gold boxes. Variety of holiday baskets, corporate trays, bourbon cherries, holiday gifts, and so much more. Don't leave home without your family favorites. Visit any of their 7 locations in Dayton and Cincinnati. Shop online at EstherPrice.com and ship your family and friends their favorites. Your holiday tradition is at Esther Price Candies.
The homemade goodness everyone likes. There's a whole lot sweeter with fine chocolates from Esther Price.
Hey, here to tell you about my friends at Cordell Transportation. They're now hiring Class A CDL drivers and offering a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, a $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily, dedicated lanes, and no-touch freight. Brand new equipment as well. Medical, dental, vision, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody right now. Apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
My son is not some statistic.
My daughter's not a headline.
My girl, she's not someone's agenda.
What she
is
irreplaceable. COVID hospitalizations of young people have
tripled since the start of summer.
So I talked to my daughter's doctor about COVID vaccines.
She said they're highly effective in preventing hospitalizations and deaths, even from the Delta variant.
We can do this. Find vaccines near you at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
In college football, Goodyear knows a new season means new possibilities, where every Saturday is an opportunity on the road to greatness. No matter if you're out there playing your hardest or cheering the loudest from the sidelines, tailgating in the parking lot, or your favorite spot to watch the game, Goodyear knows passion is what drives us forward all the way to the playoffs. That's the road that moves us. Goodyear, more driven.
Staples Connect is a new world of possible with innovative tools for small business and remote workers and learners. Explore more at your local Staples store or staplesconnect.com.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We're also live on Facebook. Head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show. Later on this week, we're going to be giving away a ticket package for upcoming Wright State Raiders men's basketball games, along with Skyline Chili gift cards. So we'll have more information on how you can go about winning those, of course, and I'll have more information for that coming up around the corner. But we were talking about the bowl games in Ohio State, Utah, and again, any game that Ohio State's in, we're going to watch, of course. That's a given. But if I'm going to be there, and I'm going to have to be there to watch it, I would like to be able to kind of have something a little bit more interesting. Like Utah, what are they? I mean, I guess I'm going to phrase it like this. Ohio State, Utah, when they play and they kick off on January 1st, they're kicking off to win a game. A game of what? It's an exhibition game. People get so mad that how could you disrespect the Rose Bowl? I didn't disrespect the Rose Bowl. The college football playoff format disrespected the Rose Bowl. For me, the Rose Bowl should be either the national championship game every year. I feel like the national, but they won't do it that way because that's how they make money, is they make everyone bid on it. But I believe that the Pasadena, the Rose Bowl, should be one of the semifinal matchups every year. Every year. That's just my opinion. That's what it should be. And then that would eliminate the the need to try and justify the history of it, to force feed a Big Ten Pac-12 matchup, because then the Big Ten champion, usually that's who would go on to play in the Rose Bowl, but now they have to go play in the playoff. And then why would you not do the NIT route for one? Like, for instance, if the Dayton Flyers won the A-10 regular season and then they lost in the conference championship and didn't make the NCAA tournament, you would pick the Dayton Flyers to go to the NIT. If the Dayton Flyers win the regular season and they win the conference championship, then they go to the second place team to go to the NIT. Why would Iowa not have gotten the Pasadena bid? Now, again, it's not how it works. I get that. But, like, I'm just saying Iowa should go. I don't know how Ohio State, because they're the second best team record-wise and all that stuff in the conference is what I'm assuming.
They're the next highest rated team from the Big Ten.
But like that's just
because their champion went to the college football playoff, so they picked the highest ranked from the committee.
Oh no, and I get that, but like I'm just saying, like it should have been Iowa. What's the point? I mean, Big Ten championship game, but why don't they do it that way? Well, we don't want a bad Northwestern or a bad Iowa team. So, again, you're taking advantage of that because you know that the second highest rated team is going to be the better one of the two. But, like, you're putting in these security blankets to avoid a bad matchup when really you can, if your whole purpose is trying to avoid a bad matchup, you might as well have just changed how you do it altogether. So, anyways, how you get away with that is it would be weird to watch the Rose Bowl without a Big 12 or Big 10 Pac-12 matchup to a certain extent. But the way you could justify it and get away with it is make it the host site of one of the college football playoff sites every year. And we've seen that happen. We've seen Oklahoma, and I think Oklahoma played at Pasadena years ago with Baker Mayfield. That's where they who did Oklahoma play that year? It's going to drive me. Georgia. That was a hell of a game, and that was one of the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl that year was one of the playoff matchups. I feel like that's what you should get. So here's the matchups, Kev, that I would have liked to have seen. And let me make sure we have the right music for this. No, that's not the right. What is that? Do we got something there? No, we used to have a good music bed.
That's good. Oh, you hitting all the buttons.
Well, I'm just trying to find the right one. This is Dayton Radio, folks. Like I said. I can't believe Utah's using me as a way to motivate them. But anyways. All right. So here are the bowl games. Again, really good bowl game. UCF in Florida, Oregon, Oklahoma, Michigan State, Pittsburgh, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State. There's really good bowl games that are actually scheduled. But I feel like they left meat on the bone. You could have got a lot more matchups that would have had a lot more intrigue and had a lot more people talking about it. Like, I don't think there's a doubt in my mind. Like Ohio State, Utah. That's not a sexy matchup. It's a good matchup. The game will be good, but like we want substance. If we're going to tune in to watch an exhibition game, I need to have a reason to watch it. It's kind of like, preseason NBA basketball. Well, I'm not going to watch preseason NBA basketball, but if they say, hey, the starters are going to play for the first quarter, I'll watch the first quarter. Preseason NFL football. Did I say NBA football? Did I say NBA football? Dayton
I
Radio.
wasn't going to say nothing.
Again,
I knew what you meant.
Dayton, yeah, it's Dayton Radio, folks. Just, it is what it is. We are the best show in town and the worst show in town. I mean, that's how you'd rank them, right? What an idiot. NBA football. Jesus Christ. Maybe people would watch the NBA more if it was NBA football. But so NFL preseason football. All right. If they said, hey, because a lot of teams are starting to go in the direction of not playing any starters. Some people are going to go to that first preseason game because it's a taste of football. And then after that, everyone gets bored with it. But if I said, hey, the starters will play the first they'll play the first half, everyone's going to go. It's just a meaningless preseason game. Who cares why you're going? Because there's a reason to go. You get to, there's no reason to watch an exhibition game that Ohio State fans live and breathe for the college football playoff. It's a championship or bust type program. That's the reality of it. Utah, they're excited. This is the Rose Bowl. It's their first ever Rose Bowl appearance, by the way, and they get to play Ohio State. I know why they're jacked. I'm mean and a bully for picking on the Utah fans, the little old Utah fans. I'm mean, but whatever. I've always been mean, so I'm not going to change now. The point is I feel it's underwhelming. So here's what I would like to see. This is easy. Ohio State, Notre Dame. That would be the matchup. It sets a lot of variables there. Marcus Freeman just takes over. It'd be cool right off the bat, his first test is Ohio State. That sets up back-to-back games between Ohio State and Notre Dame. There's a lot of talking points there. Ohio State, let's say Notre Dame upsets Ohio State or beats Ohio State because they're ranked higher than Ohio State. So let's say Notre Dame beats Ohio State. Super. Now that sets up an even bigger matchup to kick off the 2022 season in the immediate rematch, right? That a lot of selling points right there. I would love to see DJ Uiagalelei and Clemson go up against Texas A&M. Dabo Sweeney against Jimbo Fisher. Texas A&M and Clemson. Now, sure, Texas A&M has 4 losses on the season. They do have a win under Alabama on their belt. Clemson's 9-3. All 3 of their losses, one of those to the number 3 team in Georgia, but all 3 of their losses have come against top 25 teams. Clemson played really, really good football to close out the season. It's not like they're 2 powerhouses that are playing their best football, but 2 teams playing really good football to close out the season, and it's 2 branded teams. Clemson, Texas A&M, 2 good quarterbacks, great head coaches, 2 good programs. I would love to see that. Oklahoma State, Ole Miss. That would be a fun one. 2 very good head coaches, well-known head coaches, 2 high-powered offenses. You have the runner-up in the Pac-12 championship game or the Big 12 championship game going up against Ole Miss. I would love to see that 10-2 Ole Miss against 11-2 Oklahoma State. Just 2 high-scoring programs led by great coaches. It would be a super fun matchup. Here's the one I'd love to see. This is who Utah should play. Baylor. Pac-12 champion, Big 12 champion. Baylor, Utah. A lot of intrigue there. Still a great opponent for Utah to play. Still a chance for them to cap off their season. And then Baylor, to cap off their season as well after a big win over Oklahoma State. I would love to see that. Pittsburgh and Michigan State. I'm not changing it. I'm leaving that one. That one, they got that one right. That's a great.
Get your popcorn ready game right there.
That's the one I'm really intrigued by. And then one that, 2 teams out of the American Conference, Houston going up against Wake Forest. Two teams, two excellent quarterbacks. I think it'd be evenly matched, and it would be a chance for the American Conference after getting a team in the college football playoff, and then have Houston potentially knock off the ACC champ. I think that'd be pretty damn cool. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Though, one more time: Ohio State, Notre Dame, Clemson, Texas A&M, Ole Miss against Oklahoma State, Baylor and Utah, Michigan State and Pittsburgh I'd keep, and I would love to see, because I wanted to give some love to some smaller schools we're not talking about, Wake Forest and Houston. I think that those bowl matchups right there kick the original bowl schedule's ass, and it gets Ohio State away from little old Utah, and it sets up Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame against Ohio State. You would have back-to-back Ohio State-Notre Dame matchups, so that's a built-in storyline right there. That would be huge. And I think Notre Dame, Ohio State would draw a huge number just because, well, for one, because it's Notre Dame, Ohio State, but there's so much more that would go into that matchup because of Marcus Freeman and all the drama. Notre Dame, all of a sudden, is a likable program. Keep in mind, outside of Notre Dame country, no one really likes Notre Dame.
Right.
They're an easy team to like. They don't play in a conference, all that. They get to pick their own schedule. Their fans are obnoxious, just like Ohio State fans are obnoxious. But I think that would have been money. Clemson, Texas A&M, Dabo against, Jimbo. Love to see that matchup right there. I think that's, considering not in the playoff, that's one hell of a matchup. Ole Miss, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Utah, Pitt, Michigan State, and Wake Forest and Houston. Kev, if you could make your own bowl schedule, if you could improve what the original bowl schedule is, what would the Kev Nash bowl schedule be like?
First, I want to say I'm proud of you for allowing some other lower brand teams into the Justin Kenner bowl schedule.
I'm sure Utah is thankful as well.
Number 5 for me would be Baylor, Arkansas. Arkansas is all offense, no breaks. Baylor is all defense, very little bit of offense. So, and also that's an old Big 8 matchup from way, way, way back in the 80s. So you get all the old fuddy-duddies. You give them something.
That one more time, who?
Baylor and Arkansas. They used to play in the Big 8.
Arkansas and Houston would have been a fun one. Now, Wake Forest and Houston's good, but Arkansas. Anyways, keep going. I'm hijacking your stuff. Mine is ADD bad. It's bad today.
No problem. I would go with, and this is new, Oregon and Miami. I mean, Cristobal just left Oregon to go back home to Miami.
Ooh, yeah.
He'll be on the sidelines, giving insight like, hey, he likes to roll out to the right. Yeah, all that type of stuff. So there you go with that. For Ohio State, I said Ole Miss. I think that will be the shootout of all shootouts. I'm thinking 60-65 the way those teams score and give up points left and right. I think that will be a highly explosive game there.
Last time Kiffin had Ohio State, it was Justin Fields' first game, and Fields, it was 28-0 in the first quarter.
It was
over before. Yeah, it was over before it started.
Yeah. Number 2 for me would be another AAC team taking on the SEC team, but this will be Texas A&M taking on Houston. Okay. Houston is headed to the Big 12 just like UC is. So, hey, throw them a bone, give them a chance to go up against a big dog or a perceived big dog in Texas A&M. I think that would be a pretty cool matchup. But another one for me, Maryland and Wake Forest, 2 teams that played absolutely no defense. And I really like Sam Hartman. As a quarterback, the quarterback for Wake Forest. And, Tua's brother. Sorry, I can't pronounce his first name, but he's explosive. So I think it'd be a ton of points scored in that game, too.
All right. Those are all good. But see, I'll tell you, we didn't have any similar matchups there. Mm-mm. And
a lot of the same teams, but
Oh yeah, but not the same matchups.
Yeah,
and all of those were great. Did you have a Clemson matchup in there?
I did not. I like their matchup. I really like that matchup. I tried.
Who do they have in the actual bowl?
Iowa State. I tried not to pick teams that I picked for. I liked their matchup already. The only one I did was Ohio State's, but I really like that matchup between Clemson and Iowa State. So I really didn't mess with that one. So, but there's a lot of other ones out there like the Arizona State, Wisconsin. Arizona State is all offense, no defense. Wisconsin is very limited on offense. I know they went on that streak towards the back end of the regular season, but then they coughed it up the last 2 games of the regular season and everything like that. It's some good matchups out there. It's just like a lot of these come on at weird times now. It's bowl season is weird. Like they got a bowl game on Thursday, December 30th at 3:00. Purdue and Tennessee. That's a game I will watch. I like that game. That's something I will watch, but it's at 3:00. Like, even though I'm on vacation. Did I tell you I'm on vacation that day? Yeah, I'll be on vacation.
The only thing that starts at 3 is the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash minus Kev Nash.
So maybe I am able to watch that game.
Holy moly. Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to have plenty of time on your hands. Just saying. All right, folks. Justin Kinner, Kev Nash with you here on a Tuesday. No, ESPN Radio's Jason Fitz. He's day drinking today. I don't know if he wants me to be just throwing his business out there like that, but, it is what it is. Too late. But he said he has an off day today. He's Kev Nash today. He's taking the day off. But Jason said he'd be back tomorrow, and we'll, of course, dissect all of the college football playoff talk, NFL talk, all that fun stuff coming up with Jason Fitz on tomorrow's show. Heading into hour number 2, Alex Woods, you remember him, former left-handed pitcher for, not former, he's still a current pitcher, but former Reds pitcher,
left-handed.
kind of considered. Yeah, still, yeah, he's now a righty. There you go. Well, I'm an idiot. NFL preseason basketball, NBA preseason football, former left-hander, now a right-hander. What is wrong with me today? It's the damn Utah fans.
They got you.
They got me. And they're probably tuning in today and hearing me fumble all over. They're like, no wonder this idiot's in Dayton. Like, it's exactly what it is. I can't live up to the high standard of Utah. Someone said, and they bragged about living in Utah. Like, no, I'd rather be in Utah. And he sent me a picture of him skiing. I'm like, cool, you roll down a hill. Good for you. So we have internet and power here in Old Dayton, Ohio. So, just hold it. We'll be back. We'll talk Quinn Ewers coming up next hour. We'll take your calls. Phone lines are full, so we'll get to you guys immediately right away. 518-1410. Do you like our college football bowl game matchups? If Kevin and I got to create our own bowl schedule, I feel like both of us just totally kicked the original bowl schedule's ass. Like, I like both of those. Even if I didn't get any of mine, I did like all of yours, Kev. But nonetheless, we'll be back. Hour 2 coming up next. The Justin Kinner Show presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty, Tim's Bar and Grill on Brown Street, and of course Orion Sports Medicine. Don't go anywhere. Hour 2 coming up next.
The Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
From city streets to back roads, from road warrior to carpooler, there are some things you can always count on, like the reliability, durability, and power of DieHard, America's most trusted auto battery. No matter where your journey takes you, count on DieHard to get you started on the road ahead. Available at your local Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest stores.
Do you want to be a hero for the holidays? How about getting your loved one a new iPhone? That's right. Pure Talk has iPhone 12 starting at just $479 through the end of the year. And sure, they have 13s too. Switch to Pure Talk. Great nationwide 5G coverage. Yes, the same coverage as the big guys, but the average family saves over $800 a year. Now that's just smart. There's no need to overpay for Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. Plus, with Pure Talk's 30-day risk-free guarantee, you've got nothing to lose. Unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data is just $30 a month. And like I said, the iPhone 12, just $479. From your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say Jill 50, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Plus, save on a new phone. That's pound 250, say Jill 50. Pure Talk is simply smarter wireless. Some restrictions apply. See site for details.
Would you like to save hundreds of dollars on your real estate taxes? Celebrate the holidays with the gift of a lower tax bill. This is Montgomery County Auditor Carl Keith, and if you're a homeowner age 65 or older, or you are permanently and totally disabled, you could be eligible for the homestead exemption. To find out if you qualify, call my homestead hotline at 937-225-4341. The deadline to apply for this tax break is December 31st, but if you are already enrolled, you do not need to reapply. New applicants are subject to an income test. Visit our website for more information at mcauditor.org or call 937-225-4341. That hotline number again is 937-225-4341. And remember, the deadline to apply is December 31st. This is Auditor Carl Keith wishing you and your homestead the best this holiday season.
Forecast? Quality candidates ahead. Indeed skills tests help you find the right hire faster. Screen for skills your job requires. Hiring becomes a breeze. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
You're listening to Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM.
Saw WWE Wrestling's coming back to Columbus
Great.
in February, which means hoping they make a little stop in Dayton. I'm all about the wrestling. I'm a WWE nerd, don't care. Hey, one of the few perks about the station outside of, being paid a ton of money,
big bucks,
is, when WWE comes to town, they stop in. They're cool, regular people. Neat. So there you go. But Justin Kidder show back with Kev Nash. And the reason I brought that up, get the WWE wrestling music in the background. So there you go. Whose theme is this?
Not a clue.
You played college football. Still don't know.
The Rock.
The WWE champion played at Iowa.
Lesnar?
No, Big E.
No, Lesnar went to Minnesota. Okay, because I heard him doing the intro for the Big Ten Championship game.
Yeah, Big E does a lot of stuff. Yeah, for that, and then he does a lot of stuff for UFC as well. But yeah, he does a lot of crossover stuff. But yeah, we welcome you back, Justin Kidder, Kev Nash. 3 straight hours of WWE wrestling talk, weekdays from 3 to 6,
and Utah talk.
And yeah, Utes. Yeah, I've been kind of funny in those two. I've been like, oh, Utes guys are nuts and blah blah blah. Utes guys are silly and Utes guys are making me laugh. Like, oh, a lot of play on words. But the thing is, it's probably dumb because they probably get that all the time. And I'm over here acting like I just came up with that.
Like it's new jokes.
Yep. Utes got to be kidding me. That's going to be a new segment every day. Utes got to be kidding me. And it's going to be just me reading stupid tweets from stupid Utah fans. Again, just to be clear, I know there are local players on Utah's team. Their parents who support Utah and their kids, they're not dumb. They're not stupid Utah fans. I support the parents and the players on Utah's roster. Outside of that, nope, not anymore. Not anymore. I mean, it's one thing. Like I said, it is one thing to be a homer for your team, but the weird flexes they do. Like, we've never lost to Michigan. Super. Like, what the heck? Like, why would I care about that? Then my favorite was that they have a 6-game win streak against teams that Ohio State has lost to. Quite the flex.
Really? So let me think. I guess that would be Oregon. That's 2. Michigan 1.
I guess they beat Michigan 3 times or something stupid. I don't know. And by the way, good for them. But like that really hasn't been that difficult over the last decade. This is the best Michigan team that they've had. Well, they had a good one in 16, or was it 16, 17, or 18? Whatever that overtime game was 16. With Ohio State. They're all blending in together. The
good old days when we won.
Yeah, here's another Utah tweet. Every year, a Utah team of some sort gets into the spotlight at some point, and a dude like this guy says something. This guy is me. And a dude like this guy says something like this. This is weird. Let me start over. Again, Utah fans. The Utes. Every year, a Utah team of some sort gets into the spotlight at some point, a lot of sums, and a dude like this says something, a lot of S's, like this, and we all pretend to be mad. Let's just operate under the assumption that everyone in media markets smaller than Salt Lake thinks we are small and move on. Oh, see? They're thinking rationally. This guy just said F off, so there's that.
Nice.
Yep, I like that response better. I actually enjoy the mean ones. Here's what it is.
You got problems, Joe.
518-1410, the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live here on 1410 Wing AM. Again, we're Dayton's ESPN radio station. So we've opened up talking about Utah for whatever reason, but we gave you our bowl schedule. Look, the bowl games technically mean nothing. By the way, I don't know. I'm really curious. I'm kind of sitting back waiting to see. Do you think Garrett Wilson plays in this bowl game against Utah?
No.
And how should we feel about that? 5 years ago, Kinner would have been pissed. I've adapted. I've adapted. What's that called? I guess I've progressed on that thinking.
Matured.
But I think that the game has changed. At the beginning, that was kind of a shock. Like, I can't believe players aren't going to play. But
I remember when Denzel Ward didn't play, people were losing their mind.
And yeah, because he, didn't want to get hurt. Which after his career in the NFL, I don't blame him. My goodness, I mean, I think he's on the IR after sneezing the other day. I never know with him. But how should we feel if Garrett Wilson does sit out of this Rose Bowl game? Again, not how you feel, but what the general reaction is going to be.
Oh, they're going to be. Some people are going to be very upset at Garrett Wilson, and they're going to be upset with Chris Olave. But guess what? Both of them are likely to be first or second round picks, and that's a lot of money to be risking out here not to win a national championship. Yes, the Rose Bowl championship is important, and I would love for the Buckeyes to win it, and I expect them to win. But, if you truly care about these young people as people, as opposed to just commodities and trying to help you get trophies and bragging points, you would understand where they're coming from.
I don't know, man. Like, if you could play in the last game of the regular season, you can't play one more. Like, you spent 3 years in college. You can get hurt at any point. And I know it would stink if you got hurt, but like Keith Byers says this all the time. Keith Byers got drafted injured. That teams know. I mean, that's just kind of how it is. I know there's a long time ago that he was drafted, but the point is, like, injuries happen. You can get injured your rookie. I mean, Joe Burrow got injured his rookie year, and he looks like, Bio-Man with all the little metal that he has all over him to protect himself. Like, I don't know, man. I'm so back and forth on this. It's justified, but I just think for playing a sport like football to be worried about getting hurt, it just contradicts itself. Like, I'm torn on it. But this is why, Kev, you can't get mad at me when I say these games don't matter, because they don't. Because if Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson were willing to risk their career to beat Michigan, if they are willing to risk, if these NFL, if the Buckeyes made the playoff and Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson are willing to risk their NFL careers to get injured to play in a playoff game or a championship game, then, clearly, if these games aren't worth risking it, they don't matter. And it's not just my opinion. The players are telling you it doesn't matter. The players are telling you that I will play a game in November, but if I'm not playing in a championship game in December, I'm not going to play. I'm not going to play on New Year's. So they don't matter. Like, they don't matter. If a coach if coaches can leave jobs because they feel like their work here is done, that the season is done, if the players feel like they could sit out bowl games because they're meaningless, then they're meaningless. And sure, some might find some meaning in them, but at the end of the day, it's okay if people find meaning in them. But guys like me who say these games are meaningless, I don't think I could be told I'm wrong, because the players and coaches are telling you that they're meaningless.
I think it's a combination of everything. I think it's the players telling you one thing, the coaches are telling you one thing, but more importantly, college football is telling you one thing. And also the fans are telling you another thing, because people check out on their team after they're out of contention for the college football playoff. And when college football playoff was invented, I knew this was going to happen. I knew that there was going to be a time where just people just going to forget all about every other bowl game, and the only thing that matters is making the Final Four, and that's the only thing that people even care about. And another thing about it, we can look at it from the perspective of the NCAA. They forced this upon everybody because this is what apparently everybody wanted, but these are unforeseen consequences. And then we talk about the coaches leaving the programs early. Well, this is because the NCAA moved up the recruiting period to December 15th as opposed to February. So this is part of the marketing tool, to be perfectly honest. And then this is how coaches and players combat that. They say, well, if the season is over and I'm not playing for anything and y'all telling me that it means nothing, then I don't mean anything. So I'm going pro. I'm going to train to go pro. Now, there's plenty of guys out there that were high round picks that end up still playing. Like, I remember Dalvin Cook played in the Orange Bowl versus Michigan when he was at Florida State. Saquon Barkley played in the Rose Bowl the year that he was drafted. What was Saquon Barkley drafted? He was fifth overall?
I thought he was so Baker went 1. That was the year I think he went 2. I think he went number 2 because there was talk about, okay, the Browns, because I was one of them. I was wrong on this. I wanted the Browns to take Saquon. So glad they didn't. I wanted the Browns to take Saquon that year at number 1 because of the reports about taking Baker Mayfield. I was like, the Jets aren't going to take Baker Mayfield. So he didn't go 2. He went 3 to the Giants.
Okay.
So I said, okay, because the Browns had the number 1 and the number 4 pick, or number 4 or 5, doesn't matter. It was either 1 and 4 or 1 and 5. And I said, the Browns should take Saquon Barkley. And if you want Baker Mayfield, Baker's not going to go to the Jets or the Giants at that point. So you may as well take Saquon, who that could potentially go in the middle, and then you still get Saquon and Baker. Luckily, that obviously was not the case. They took Denzel Ward, but Denzel Ward, long answer, went number 4.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of guys out there that still end up playing in these bowl games, and this is more tape for them, for the NFL scouts to watch. I mean, as a fan base, we really only care about if we're going to be hoisting up the trophy, the real trophy at the end of the season. So it's not just the coach's fault. It's not just the player's fault. It's not just the fans' fault. It's a combination of everybody involved. It's not just one entity's fault. It's everybody combined saying, like, well, this really don't matter to us anymore.
What about this? So this is interesting point that comes in. This is from Schroeder. He says, mark my words, in a couple years, players are going to have in their scholarship or somewhere that will give them incentives to play in bowl games. And I've always thought about that when the NIL started. The scholarship is, the education, room and board, blah, blah, blah. But like the scholarships almost could become little mini contracts. Okay, I'll come play for you I'll commit to you to play for you. But within that scholarship, I also want this. I also want that. I know I can get that now because of name, image, and likeness. I know you can't directly hand it to me, but go find a company that will. What if you get to the point where the sponsors of that bowl are willing to fork over extra money? Like, hey, by the way, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, we're the sponsor of this bowl game. We know we have you, and we know that you sitting out is, going to take eyes off of this. We'll pay you to play. Like, we'll give you incentives, we'll incentivize you playing, and risking blah, blah, blah. Do you think that could be I don't think that's that far.
I mean, I'm sure there will be out there, but I'm sure
underneath that little PlayStation they get their little,
Yeah, I mean, they get stuff like you get the gift bags and stuff when they go, gift cards to Best Buy and everything like that. But yeah, I'm sure there's going to be people and pulling them to play and everything like that. But when you're a caliber player of a Chris Olave and a Garrett Wilson who's going to be going in the first round, you sign with an agent, you gonna get a card signing, and you can make what that Gasparilla Bowl is gonna pay you for playing the game in 20 minutes signing autographs. You know what I'm saying? It's always gonna be somebody that's gonna be willing to pay you more, especially when you're a first round caliber wide receiver.
Yeah, I mean, in like the Tampon 500 Bowl, like lifetime supply of the Tamps. Incentivized to play. Doesn't benefit them, but I mean, they know somebody.
Not touching that.
Me neither. 518-1410. We've covered a lot, so when I bring you on, shoot, I have no clue what these calls are going to be about. So let's go to we got Jay. Jay, how are you, sir? Welcome. Yeah, I didn't expect Jay to wait. Jay, call back. We'll get you back on hold. I don't think he wants to talk about the Tampon 500 bowl game that features Michigan and Utah. That's who I'd put in that bowl game. Let's go to, is this Dickie? Dickie. Wow, he always waits.
0-for-2.
No, but last time he's the one that called on his break at Lowe's.
Yes.
No, he wasn't even on break.
The great Dickie.
He said he called from work, and I said, oh, you at work now? He goes, yeah. And I go, wait, you're calling on the job? Yeah, but we're not busy. The bosses aren't around. And I'm like, what in the world's going on, Dickie? You don't get fired to call into the show. And he's like, well, then answer quicker so I don't get in trouble. But nonetheless, 518-1410. One thing that was surprising over the weekend that we didn't really get into that I want to get into is Quinn Ewers. For one, he did take 2 snaps for Ohio State. My hot take was that Quinn Ewers, at the tail end of last season, my hot take was I think we did an over-under. And I said that there was no way that Quinn Ewers would take a snap for Ohio State. I got a ton of criticism for that. And everyone's like, you're crazy. He's, he's a super talented. He's supposed to be the next, Trevor Lawrence, this and that. I said, I'm not debating that he's not talented. I'm here to tell you that it's going to be the situation that unfolds. I mean, Justin Fields left Georgia. Now, I know there were some reports as to why he left Georgia, but there was also back at that time, and I'm not here to debate, the legitimacy of the reasons that he left Georgia or not, but keep in mind, Justin Fields back then when he left Georgia, you had to have a reason to decommit or to transfer. I mean, you had to have a reason to transfer and it be justifiable, and that's the case. If the same rules that are in place now were in place a couple years ago, Justin Fields would not have had to have a reason to transfer out. He could have just said, hey, I'm entering the transfer portal, deuces, I'm out of here, and off he would have gone. So for me, Quinn Ewers, it was never the case. I kept painting this situation in my head. I'm like, it's the Ohio State University. We're supposed to sit here and act like C.J. Stroud and Kyle McCord and Jack Miller and these guys, that they're going to be bad, that they're not going to be good, that Ohio State's not going to have a great year. I go, they're more likely to be great than they are not. Mm-hmm. And that Ryan Day was going to be put in a position at the tail end of the year to decide, do I rock the boat with what's working to go with what I'm told is the next Justin Fields, the next Trevor Lawrence, or do I don't shake it up and stick with what's working, and that's C.J. Stroud. Now, C.J. Stroud, I had no idea Kev would be a Heisman candidate. I knew he'd be really, really good. I did not think he'd be a Heisman candidate good, but he's a Heisman candidate good. So people like Jay, what's his name? I told you I got into an argument on Twitter, shocker, with the former Buckeye. Jay Richardson. Him and I have talked since then. We're cool. He's going to do the show.
Look at you.
So, but But he was calling out Quinn Ewers for not competing for the job. And I go, well, where was that energy with Justin Fields and Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow lost the job to multiple quarterbacks and transferred out, which, okay, fine. But he lost the job. He didn't win the job and he transferred out. Okay, cool. Super. I don't expect Joe Burrow to sit there and be the backup and luckily he didn't. He made the right choice and look at him now, right? So it is what it is. Justin Fields transferred from Georgia. Don't blame him. Too damn good. We saw how good he was. There's no way in hell that kid should have been a backup. But because Kirby Smart at Texas said with Fromm, we're in the championship game with Fromm. We're undefeated right now with Fromm. We're a playoff team with Fromm. I don't want to risk rocking the chemistry of the team that I know is good enough to make the playoffs to get to a championship game. I'm not going to risk that. That's the situation that Ryan Day is in right now. Sure, there's a chance that Quinn Ewers could be better than C.J. Stroud, but why risk it? Why risk? You saw some of the learning, the bumps that he had to take along the way. Stroud, do you want to go through that again? No, you can head into next year. Really good receiving corps, second year Trevion Henderson. Hopefully you button up that defense, and now all of a sudden you've gone to that next level. Is he better than Quinn Ewers? Maybe not. But if from anything you've seen from Stroud this year, is there a reason to say we want Quinn Ewers? No. That's the thing with Ohio State. You lost Quinn Ewers, and I don't even think it's a big deal. There is not a lot of programs in the country that can lose the number one quarterback in any recruiting class and be all right. In Ohio State, I don't think Ryan Day lost a wink of sleep at night after that. Not one. If a Texas A&M loses him, when Texas lost him, by the way, that was a big deal.
Right.
That's what led to, by the way, because Tom Herman was the head coach at that time. Tom Herman, that was the nail in the coffin when he transferred, when he announced he was. Now, some of that was too, they were moving on. The writing was on the wall that they were going to move on from Tom Herman. But at that point, how do you let that guy get to your former team, Ohio? To the Buckeyes, to Ohio State. How does that happen? So Quinn Ewers decommits from Texas. That crushed that program. That was a huge deal to lose him. It's not a huge deal to lose him at Ohio State. You have C.J. Stroud, a Heisman finalist quarterback, capable of winning it. So it is what it is. But Quinn Ewers leaving, I was surprised at Jay Richardson and so many guys attacking him that, oh man, that, he didn't even want to compete. He should have stayed to compete for the job. And I said, well, sometimes there's not a job to compete for. There are some people I've spoken to, former players, and no, I'm not. Yes, I am doing that whole putting my chest out, trying to sound cool for a Dayton radio host. Okay. But yes, there are former players, guys that are connected to the program that have told me that there wasn't a job to compete for.
I think if anybody watched the games this season, they could see that there's not a job to compete for. Yeah, because they keep selling themselves or telling themselves this fantasy that, oh man, he's better than this guy and where he's going to start next year. No, wasn't going to happen. Mm-hmm. I don't know what people were smoking, but CJ Stroud balled out this year. And for some strange reason, people don't want to admit it for whatever reason. He's the quarterback. Deal with it. Yeah, and he's good, more importantly.
And there's Buckeye fans and Jay Richardson, some others that are kind of, ripping this kid, saying, oh, man, he just used Ohio State. No, he didn't. He committed to Ohio. He decommitted from Texas and was willing to come all the way to Columbus. Was willing to come all the way to Ohio State to play for Ryan Day.
What do they mean by used Ohio State?
That, for one, that he had to transfer, or that he had to leave, that he came to Ohio State enrolled early to get all that name, image, and likeness money, which, by the way, that's not using Ohio State. That's called good business, by the way. Anyone that rips him for chasing the money, there's money to be chased now. Like, that's the thing. Like, why would you not? Like, there's not a lot of players that have that opportunity. Why should one of the few select players that are fortunate to get offered that kind of money, why should they turn that down?
Right.
I don't think that it's right to expect a kid to do that. Oh, man, he's just chasing the money. Yeah. And you know how many other players would do the exact same thing if they were in his situation? No problem with it. Him transferring out from Ohio State and not even staying to compete for the job. 2 former Buckeyes. One of these former Buckeyes I talked to actually goes to practice regularly, is in the know, and straight up told me that he agreed, because I was going at it with people on Twitter, shocker, about this very thing. And he shot me a text and said, hey, just so you know, you are dead on. There was not a job to compete for. That's what's going on. Now, I could be wrong on that, but trust me, this guy is in the know. I have no doubt that this guy is accurate on this. There is not, like, he didn't avoid competing for a job. Everyone's like, oh, he's a spoiled, entitled brat. He wanted the job to be handed to him. No, not at all. Because, by the way, if that was the case and he got on campus this year, there was no bad attitude from Quinn Ewers. He was at every practice. He worked his tail off. There was no ill will between him and the coaches. The player I talked to actually said they left on good terms. There was no ill will. This is not a Tate Martell situation. Tate Martell, actually, it's kind of similar. Tate Martell was also told the same thing. You might as well transfer. You're not getting this job. But there was a different context. There was different connotation with how that was presented to Tate Martell. That's not how it was presented to Quinn Ewers. So that's the thing. People are saying, oh, he's a coward. He didn't want to compete for the job. Sometimes there's not a job to compete for. That's the thing. I can't go into my boss's office and say, hey, I want your job. Can I talk to your boss so I could see about, competing for your job next year? No, the job is taken. It's his job. Why? Sometimes there's not a job to compete for. There's not a job to take. Quinn Ewers did nothing wrong. I don't know why we as Buckeye fans got to do this stupid thing. We're like, oh, screw him. We don't need him. Oh, yeah? Until he goes on and wins a damn Heisman and a championship, and you want to ride his coattails like you did with Joe Burrow. Because I heard a lot of the same things then. Joe Burrow, best of luck to him, but we don't need him. We don't need him until he wins that Heisman and wins that national championship, and everyone's like, once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye. By the way, that's where that joke came from on this show. Once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye, because I called out the hypocrisy of Buckeye fans, because nobody was saying once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye when Tate Martell was embarrassing himself at Miami. So I'm a Quinn Ewers supporter. The Kinner from 3 years ago, I would have despised Quinn Ewers, Kev. Yeah, he didn't stay to compete for the job. What a bum. He's just chasing money. Don't pay the players. Don't do this. I have come a long way from 3 years ago with my thinking on this. But again, the college football landscape has changed. Athletics in general has changed. But I can't believe how much heat this guy has taken. So that's why me and Jay Richardson got into it. But of course, I don't know how to give my opinion in a nice way. So I had to reach out and say, hey, my bad. I was a little aggressive on how I came at you, so I apologize. Kinner admitted he was wrong to Jay. Me and Jay are cool. Like I said, he's going to do the show. I'll make sure it's on a day that, one of your many 30 days you're not off. Wink, wink. But right, your thoughts. I mean, I don't think he did anything wrong.
I don't think he did anything wrong. Well, you know what? Take that back. I do think he did something wrong. I don't necessarily wrong, but these are the consequences. This is the consequences that he has to pay for deciding to leave high school a year early. He decided to come to Ohio State and enroll early. This is a decision that him and his family made. Ohio State had it all mapped out. They recruit these guys in a cycle for a reason, because they don't want this to happen. They don't want a log jam at
roster
the position.
Management. Yep.
They didn't want to have 3 freshmen in the quarterback room, and then come August, oh, now we got 4 freshmen in the quarterback room. Nobody wants
how
that.
There's super seniors. That's called a super freshman, a 17, a guy that's supposed to be in high school.
Yes.
That's in your locker room right now. That's called a super freshman at that point.
Yeah, he was supposed to be in high school, and he wanted to make the NIL money, which is more power to him.
Yep.
But with that, you come to Ohio State a year early. So think about it like this. CJ Stroud was a redshirt freshman this year. So when Quinn Ewers was supposed to show up in January of 2022, he would have been a freshman, and CJ would have been a redshirt sophomore. You go through CJ Stroud's redshirt sophomore year, he puts up crazy numbers. He wins the Heisman Trophy. Ohio State wins the national championship. He goes pro. He's drafted number 1 overall. Everything's gravy in CJ Stroud's world. Guess what? You just redshirted. Now you compete for the starting position as a redshirt freshman. That's the way Ohio State had it set up. But he and his family wanted to make that NIL money, which is their right. He graduated from high school. More power to him, having his academics in order. You wanted to show up. Obviously, Ohio State wasn't going to close their doors on, well, I guess, come on in. You're not playing. Just to let you know, you're the 4th quarterback. You're the scout team quarterback. Matter of fact, you're probably the backup behind the walk-on quarterbacks because they kind of know the offense. Yeah, you're more talented than them. You're a super athlete, but do you know what you're doing? Do you really know how to lift weights? Do you know all this? Do you know how to get to class? Do you know how to get from the towers to the actual campus? Like, it's a little knuckler. You got a ton to learn. So by the time he was even able to take a snap, it was 2 kneel downs. And I mean, he knows this. He saw everything that we saw. He knew that there was no way that, like, oh man, spring, man, I'm gonna come in here and dominate and take the job. The quarterback position is not a running back. It is not a wide receiver. It's not a tight end. It's not a defensive tackle where you rotate guys in. Most of the time, the quarterback, the starting quarterback, especially when he's good, takes 99.9% of the snaps. And furthermore, scary little secret, starting quarterback takes most of the reps in practice as well. So you're not really you're getting better in the film room and studying on your own, but
meaningful reps.
Yeah, the meaningful reps are going to go to CJ for all the spring, all the summer, all of next year. So you're going to be waiting, which is more power to the dudes that do, like Mac Jones and all that type of stuff. And that those guys are needed. And you need backups and everything like that. You need guys that buy into the system and the culture and develop and become something. But when you're a quote unquote 5-star hot shot and everything like that, you want to play and you want to prove your worth. You have 5 years to play 4 years of college football. So once you step foot on a college campus, that clock is ticking, no matter what, no matter how early you get there. Like when you enroll early, that's when the clock starts. But this dude enrolled an entire year early.
Well, to be fair, in his head, you said 5 to play, or you said 5 to play 4?
Yeah.
I think for this kid, it was 3 to play 2.
Yeah.
I think, to be fair, and for more of what I've heard of him, I'm defending him because everything that people are assuming about him is what I would have assumed 3 years ago. From the individual I spoke to, everything that is being perceived about him is inaccurate. He came onto campus knowing he wasn't going to be the starter. I give him credit for that. He would have, if he came in and had the chance to compete for it, of course, who wouldn't jump on it? But he after speaking with coaches, he was aware you're probably not competing for even the third shot. Like our quarterback room has been, we have it figured out. You can come in, pick up on some things, and you could go from there. That's why you enrolled early. I mean, Henderson enrolled early at Ohio State last year.
Yeah.
And that was a deep running back room at that time. So he didn't, but he sat back and learned. He
went through spring ball.
Yeah, that's normal, by the way. Yeah. It's not normal for quarterbacks, though.
But when he showed up in August for the season to start in September.
But that was a different situation too because of COVID. Because the season he enrolled early. God, how did that work out?
Yeah.
Was it because of COVID that he enrolled early?
No. The NIL stuff came out. NIL
that's what I couldn't
eligible in the state of Texas for high school students. He enrolled early, got the NIL check at Ohio State for promoting stuff on social media and everything like that, and was the 4th team quarterback. And now he's not at Ohio State, which is fine. I don't have no problem with it. Like,
that's how talented they are. This is
not
a big deal.
Like we talked about this over the summer. Like, this ain't gonna work out the way y'all think. Like, it's just not. And more importantly, if it worked out the way everybody thinks, man, was that not only a miss on Jack Miller, that's a miss on CJ Stroud, and that's a miss on Kyle McCord too. So that'd have been misses on 3 guys. Like, there's just like no way that he was going to be the starting quarterback as a 17-year-old freshman. Like, that would have been an indictment on Ryan Day as a scout of talent. 3 guys that you brought in handpicked were no good. That a 17-year-old that barely knows the playbook is a starter. Like, people don't think like that. Just people like, oh, he's a 5-star. They say he's the next Sunshine. Why I always call him Sunshine like I don't know the man's name? Trevor Lawrence. I'm sorry. I'm gonna start calling him by his government. Trevor Lawrence. So, like, I just don't understand that. And now he's in the transfer portal. More power to him. But, like, hey, man, like, this ain't a defensive tackle, defensive end where, oh, man, coach, I need a blow. All right, we'll send in the next unit. No, it's the quarterback. There's only one.
And I've learned over the years, too, just talking with former players, coaches, and stuff like that, not Ohio State's coaches, but I'm just saying, like, people involved in the game. A lot of times, because coaches and former players can hear me being super critical at times. And it's interesting. So some of the knowledge that I've picked up just talking with them would be that a lot of times players are transferring out, not because they're afraid to compete or whatever, but that coaches have recruited them into that position to have to transfer out. Sometimes a position is, I know that right as you put that down is when it starts ringing again, by the way. I know it stinks, but coaches over recruit positions because it's kind of like, throwing it against the wall to see what sticks. And that's what kind of happens is that, Ohio State's not, I will never say over recruits, but they go after the best of the best for multiple positions. And then what ends up happening is like the wide receiver at Alabama right now. That was a situation where if you're ranking him now, obviously you'd probably put him at number 2 or number 1. I don't know how you would rank them right now. He looks like a clear-cut number 1 over Olave and Garrett Wilson right now, but you can't go wrong with that. But like everyone's like, how do you let that type of talent go? I'm like, do you see what Ohio State has left?
Right.
How do you let Quinn Ewers go? Do you see what Ohio State has left? It's not about what's letting go.
And it's also style of play.
It's style of play. But like you bring in, so Jack Miller, Kyle McCord, and CJ Stroud were brought in, and Ryan Day knew, hey, I'm bringing in 3. We're going to keep 1. And then you know what's going to happen? And one of those might be willing to be the backup, but both of them could have the itch to bounce.
Yeah.
Then the next recruiting cycle, you have that experienced quarterback with a couple freshmen behind you, backing you up, whatever. And of those 2 to 3 that you have coming in, one of them is going to stay and the others are going to bounce. People get so caught up in what's going on in Columbus. Look at all these players transferring out. It's everywhere. For one, there's thousands of players in the portal. It's not like it used to be where players are transferring out because there's some kind of discord within the program. It's because their opportunity, they went there to compete for a job. They didn't get that job. And what I used to judge them for is no longer me judging them. It's why are you going to sit around when your goal to get to the NFL to be a backup? You have 5 years to play 4, as you said. Some players view themselves as 3 years to play 3 or 2. Quinn Ewers gambled on himself. Hey, the 3 years is what I have to be in college to get to the NFL. Well, he's already 1 year in. Mm-hmm. Now he's going to go be a starter for 2 years and boom. What he could not afford to do was, just because it worked for Mac Jones. Mac Jones was a great story because it doesn't happen that way. Even Joe Burrow got 2 years at LSU. He was not going to be a backup to CJ Stroud next year and then get 1 year as the starter at Ohio State and then bounce. That wasn't going to happen. He wants to fast track his run to the NFL. And the best way to do that is to be a 2-year starter in the NFL. So you check off those boxes. So you're not being, well, look at Dwayne Haskins. Remember him? He didn't play enough games. And there was a lot of question marks about that. And I don't know. Point is, can't believe I'm pro player now, but I have kind of shifted in that regards. But coaches over recruit positions.
Yes. That's their job too.
Yeah.
That's their job because best believe
the transfer portal and then blame the kids like, oh, they're not competing. No, they competed. Sometimes there's just not a job to compete for. There's not a job to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, we can even take a look at some of the wide receivers that they recruited. And some of those guys have switched positions because the receiver room is so crowded that they switched to tight end and things like that. And everything like look, they want to play. Like they want to play. They didn't come here to watch from the sideline and be cheering on their teammates. They want to be on the field contributing to the winning and everything as well. So I don't knock dudes for transferring, man. It's just a new way. It is what it is, especially at the quarterback position. Like I said, this isn't a wide receiver position where there's 3 of them on the field, where if you're the fourth or fifth receiver, you're going to get reps because he can't run a 9 route every single down. He's going to get tired at some point. I'm going to get in the game. So, it's the quarterback position. There's only one.
By the way, so this is why now that I've been doing this for a few years, it's funny how sports have changed. A few years ago, I had a hot take back when you couldn't transfer. If you could transfer, you had to sit out a year. And I said, what college football should do is there's only one position that I would allow a free pass to transfer without having to sit out. And I said it was the quarterback position. People lost. Kenner, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Absolutely not. Like you can't just let the quarterbacks transfer all over. I said, actually, you can. To your point, there's multiple running backs. You play running backs on rotations. You play receivers on rotations, offensive linemen on rotations, defense. You sub in and out. You have different packages. There's only there's only two positions, punter and quarterback. Only two positions that when you win that job, that is your job.
Long snapper
too. Okay, yeah. I mean, three most important positions on the field. Actually, we make fun of it, but sometimes it is.
Hey, those long snappers play in the NFL for like 20 years and get a nice check.
Yep.
And guess what? They don't have to really tackle nobody. And they protect it too. Like you can't like jump on their back and nothing. They just snap it. Hey,
going home.
Yeah.
Call me,
If he missed, that's on him. I snapped the ball. I don't got nothing to do with the kick or the hole.
Tomorrow? Okay, I'll see you guys then. But I said that a while back that, hey, I don't think that, that everyone should be able to transfer willy-nilly. I think that, receivers, I don't want to, if you're transferring out because you're not receiver number one, but you're the number two, who cares? You're at least on the field. You have a chance to make an impact. I don't believe wide receivers should get to transfer willy-nilly. Same thing with running backs, offensive linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, because everyone plays, there's more than one. Everyone plays packages. Quarterback, packages. That's so stupid. I don't even know where that's from, but I hear people say that on packages. Anyways, quarterback, no. So if you're the backup, like last year, CJ Stroud was the backup. We didn't see him at all.
Did we? I thought we saw in one game.
I think one game.
Sparty.
Remember, it was a limited season, but the one thing last year we kept saying is we had no clue what the QB room was going to look like this year. So we said, hey, Ohio State, blow out Indiana, blow out some of these opponents so we can get an idea of who these guys are. They played so many close games, we didn't get a chance to see the backups even in garbage time. So the bottom line is at the end of the day, the quarterback, it's what you fast forward now to everyone transferring out, but it just kind of made me think of that with your point, Kev, about, quarterback, sometimes the backups don't even see the field. And that's kind of where we're at. But Quinn Ewers, no problem with what he did. 518-1410, your call's coming up. But I did want to throw this out there to think about during this commercial break. Lamar Shelley, Kev, he goes, if this Ewers kid turns out to be what they think he is, it is a big miss. Again, talk about Quinn Ewers leaving. I said that you're Ohio State. When you have a Heisman candidate in CJ Stroud, yes, I mean, Quinn Ewers could be a huge success wherever he goes. I don't think it's a miss. Lamar thinks it is a miss if he goes on to be successful. He says, remember, Tom Brady played against one Ohio State quarterback in the NFL. I'm not sold on Stroud being number two. All right. Ponder on that during this commercial break because I am curious people's thoughts on that. I disagree with Lamar for a couple points, and we'll touch on that on the other side. 518-1410. Plus, we're on Facebook. Let your comments and opinions be read and heard. We'll be back in a moment.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy with snow showers, a high near 32. Tonight will also be mostly cloudy, a low near 25. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy, a high near 40. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Seal Coating, protecting the asphalt surfaces at your home, office, or commercial property. Introducing infrared patching, a new technology for your property. This service and more at culletsealcoating.com.
Want to hear something amazing? Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations apply.
I've been working at Skyline for 5 years now, and I love it. My favorite thing about working at Skyline is the people. I've become really good friends with a few of my coworkers over time. It's just not coming into work, sitting down, and like going home. You create a bond at Skyline. You become a family in a sense. You're working together every day. You're learning from each other. For me, it's been a great benefit at Skyline, and I just love it, honestly.
Skyline Chili is now hiring. Apply online at skylinechili.com/careers.
It's not magic that will deliver 1 billion packages to homes across the country this holiday. It's the United States Postal Service. And we don't need a team of reindeer to do it because we've added more vehicles to our fleet. And while we don't employ a legion of elves, we have hired thousands of new members for our team. So if making more holiday deliveries to homes in the U.S. than anyone else seems like magic, that means we're doing our job. Share the magic at USPS.com/helpers.
Right now, people are home with their pets more often, and I think now, especially with the shedding, they're more cognizant of what's going on and that it's an actual issue, and Dynovite has helped tremendously in our house with that.
I just heard the Dynovite commercial so many times that I said, you know what, I'll give it a shot, and I ordered it and tried it, and it worked.
The Dynovite, the being at home, working with them, they all love it. Me and Chewy are together 24/7.
Within 3 weeks, he's not scratching and itching, and he's an all-around happier dog.
DINOVITE.com.
From city streets to back roads, from road warrior to carpooler, there are some things you can always count on, like the reliability, durability, and power of DieHard, America's most trusted auto battery. No matter where your journey takes you, count on DieHard to get you started on the road ahead. Available at your local Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest stores.
The People's Choice Awards, hosted by Keenan Thompson, is the only award show chosen by you, the people. So let Keenan hear you.
With nominees in every category.
TV,
movies,
music,
pop
culture,
and performances from your favorite artists.
Christina Aguilera,
Blake Shelton.
some cool surprises,
Plus huge icon award winners.
Halle Berry,
Dwayne Johnson, Kim Kardashian West,
and more.
Hosted by me, Keenan Thompson. The People's Choice Awards, live tonight on NBC and E. And the red carpet starts first, live from E.
Hi, this is Eddie Sorrell, Body Shop Manager at Germain Honda of Beaver Creek. Our technicians have over 125 years of total experience. That means we can repair your vehicle correctly and efficiently. So when you need a dependable body shop, we're here. And we repair all makes and models with new state-of-the-art equipment to get you back on the road quickly. Plus, we offer loaner cars during service and free estimates. Stop by and see us. Germain Honda of Beaver Creek, State Route 35, just east of 675 between Xenia and Beaver Creek.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
There's never any FOMO with the iHeartRadio app. You won't ever have to miss out on your favorite shows and contests with this radio station again. Radio 24/7, 365. We're here when you want us. Stay connected and listen anywhere when you download the free iHeartRadio app.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Whether you're vaccinated or not, it's important to know the symptoms of COVID and its variants. Fever is the leading sign of COVID and the flu, so make sure you use an accurate thermometer. Only the Exergen Temporal Scanner Thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Non-contact thermometers have no clinical evidence behind them, and you cannot rely on them. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at Exergen.com.
At CDW, we get the challenge of managing data across different environments.
Our company data is everywhere, in the cloud, on servers. I just found some data under my couch cushions.
Well, wherever it lives, CDW experts can streamline your data across hybrid cloud environments and unlock your cloud's full potential with NetApp Cloud Services.
That's great. Ow!
You okay?
Yeah, I just stepped on some data.
IT orchestration by CDW. People who get it. Find out more at cdw.com/NetApp.
The holidays are here, and eBay is offering their best deals of December for one day only as a last chance to save big on premium brands with exclusive deals. Get more when you get it on eBay.
Football fans, the Sunday Morning Tailgate Show is officially back. Every Sunday morning starting at 11:30 a.m., College Football Hall of Famer Keith Byers and Justin Kinner will be live at Frickers on 741 by the Dayton Mall. The guys will recap the biggest games from college football Saturday, including your Ohio State Buckeyes. The guys will also get you set up for the day's biggest NFL matchups, featuring your Cleveland Browns, Cincinnati Bengals, and more. It's the Sunday Morning Tailgate Show, live from Frickers on 741, Sunday mornings at 11:30 on 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
has been brought to you by.
Not a fan.
Yeah. Justin Kim and Kev Nash back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. We closed out the last part of the show talking about Quinn Ewers. I was very surprised to see so many people critical of Quinn Ewers' decision to leave Ohio State when really the writing was on the wall. There was never a scenario that made a whole hell of a lot of sense. Had CJ Stroud, let's say that in Michigan's loss, Kev, CJ Stroud was bad. Let's say that he struggled against Michigan State. Let's say that the reason, let's go back to that Tulsa game. Remember how he looked in that Tulsa game? Not good. If that's how he looked against Oregon, if that's how he looked against Tulsa, if that's how he looked against every team throughout the year, just shaky, then by all means, I would be like, okay, Quinn, what are you doing? This is a winnable job for you if you're as good as you say. But there was everyone that wanted him to stay, to tough it out for the quarterback battle, to win the job, at least stay to win the job. Sometimes there's not a job to be had. And and you guys act as if these conversations have not been going on behind closed doors. You don't think that he's talked to Ryan Day? You don't think that the coaching staff was involved in this? From everything I've heard, they parted on perfect terms. There is no ill feelings whatsoever when it comes to Quinn Ewers leaving Ohio State. It just makes sense. You have CJ Stroud, who is just a fantastic quarterback. There is not anything. The only weakness he has is his decision-making on not to run. And he finally ran against Michigan, ran in for a 20-yard touchdown or a 15-yard touchdown, and he got called back because of a penalty. So he's clearly showing that, hey, if something's there, I will take it. He took that step forward. But my goodness, there is nothing about Stroud that I look at and say, oh, man, I don't know. I'm kind of worried about heading into 2022 with Stroud as my quarterback. Hell no. He's not why they lost to Oregon, and he damn sure as hell isn't why they lost to Michigan. And if there are concerns about next year, 2022 with CJ Stroud, it's really going to be all about, man, I don't know. I'm kind of concerned about CJ Stroud. He can't tackle. He can't stop the run. He can't, that's really what it's going to come down to is that CJ Stroud, if they struggle next year, which they won't, it'll be because of defense, just like this year. They didn't lose games this year because of Stroud and the offense. Hell, their worst offensive game of the season, they still won by 21 points, and put up 500 yards of total offense. So, and that was the Tulsa game. No clue why people are sitting here acting as if Ryan Day needed to open up the competition. For one, Kev, because then what you do, you risk. What you risk is CJ Stroud losing confidence in himself, taking a step back, potentially losing the quarterback battle to Quinn Ewers, and then Quinn Ewers ends up being good, but not CJ Stroud good from the year before. So then you get a lesser quarterback. You've ruined the psyche of CJ Stroud. It's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You're Ohio State. You lose one good quarterback, there's going to be another one coming through the door. We went through a cycle where, in this past decade alone, if you look back at some of the top quarterbacks that have got, whether it's Terrell Pryor, whether it's Braxton Miller, if the worst quarterback in the last decade is JT Barrett, you're doing pretty damn good at quarterback. There is absolutely no reason for Ohio State fans to be weary of losing Quinn Ewers. You have went from Braxton. You've had your Braxton Millers, your JT Barretts. You've had your, we went through the list already, but the bottom line, your Dwayne Haskins, your Justin Fields. Cardale Jones. And that was your third string quarterback that year. You've lost quarterbacks like Joe Burrow, who go on to win Heisman's and national championships. If you are worried that Quinn Ewers leaving puts Ohio State in a position that, oh man, what are they going to do? They're going to do what they did when they moved on from Terrell Pryor. They're going to do what they did when they moved on from Braxton. They're going to do what they did when they moved on from JT Barrett and Cardale Jones and Dwayne Haskins and Justin freaking Fields. And when they move on from CJ Stroud, obviously it won't be Quinn Ewers. There'll be another top quarterback waiting to run this program. I have no fear, no concern whatsoever. If we were a bad program or a program that we didn't have trust within our coaches, I would be concerned. There is absolutely zero to be concerned about when it comes to Quinn Ewers leaving Ohio State. And I don't want to hear, CJ Stroud goes down next year. And if he gets injured, again, that's not the problem here. There was not a job for Quinn Ewers to battle for. Quinn Ewers left because he's too damn good to be a backup. And at least that's what we're told. Who are we to question that? We are told he's the next Trevor Lawrence. He's the next Justin Fields.
And more importantly, he believes that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It ain't really about us.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's his life, it's his decision. And just to let people behind the curtains, coaches and players have these meetings. They're called exit interview meetings.
Yep.
And more importantly, when they are talking to these guys about next year and everything like that, they're telling them, hey, this is what I need you to work on with the strength and conditioning coach, yada, 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 all these plans and everything like that. But there are heart-to-heart conversations that they have to have with some guys that, like, some guys, you tell them, like, you're not going to be in the plans. And that's why you have a lot of guys that enter the portal. Like some guys that have been on rosters for years, 2 or 3 years, and they haven't seen the field. Hey, man, you can compete, you can stay, but, you know, chances are X, Y, and Z. And the coaches are keeping it real with a lot of these guys more than they used to, because college football is about recruiting, and more importantly, it's about relationships. You can't tell me that if Quinn Ewers has a bad relationship with Ohio State or Ryan Day, he doesn't know somebody back in Texas at his high school that's being recruited from Ohio State. Like, oh, man, he's dirty, man. He did me foul. Like, all these type of things happen. So it's very important for coaches to let these guys off easy, if that's the right verbiage for it. You know, you got to be honest with them. Like, hey, man, honestly, you're not going to be the starter. We're going to go into spring ball with CJ as QB1. That's as honest as you can be. And to be perfectly honest, that's all you can really ask for at any position, be a football player, basketball player, or everyday life employee, where we work, where you work, where anybody else works. You just want honesty from your manager. Like, hey, this is what the issue is, or this is the plan moving forward. I know a lot of people out here don't have that at their jobs and everything like that. They're left in the dark and left to wonder about what's going on all the time. But in a situation like this at Ohio State, especially inside the football program, Coach Day is being honest with these guys. Like, look, this is XYZ, man. He's going to be QB1 going into the spring. Obviously, we're going to honor your scholarship. We love to have you, but you got to do what you got to do. I don't see why there's the big problem. And another thing, this whole, oh man, Tom Brady, he only faced one Ohio State quarterback in NFL. What does that have to do with us winning in college? College and NFL are two different places. Cardale Jones, he helped us win the national championship. He had a cup of coffee in the NFL and was a backup. Whoop-de-doo. Like, I don't think the two correlate. You can win national championships and not be a first round pick at the quarterback position. It's been proven time in and time again. Tommy Frazier, quarterback at Nebraska, never played in the NFL. Like, I don't AJ McCarron won a championship at Alabama. He's a backup in the NFL. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, this whole correlation from quarterback at college to the NFL. Can you play in college? Because that's where you're playing right now.
Yep. And keep in mind, so what Kev's referencing is Lamar Shelley's Facebook post that was messaged in saying, if this Ewers kid turns out to be what they think he is, it's a big miss. Keep in mind, people are worried about Ohio State looking like Georgia in this situation when they stuck with Fromm over Justin Fields. And then Justin Fields goes on to be Justin Fields, and then Georgia's offense just kind of never looked like Ohio State's. But, you know, it is what by the way, Georgia, I still to this day did nothing wrong. You had a quarterback that had you undefeated, that had you in a national championship game. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Does it mean that they believe Fromm was better than Fields? No, it just means that there's no need to shake things up if it's already working. Like in college, you know, it's a delicate line, but, you know, once you tinker with something, you can set everything off base.
Right. And I really don't mean to cut you off, but if Justin Fields is running the Georgia offense, he's not Justin Fields. So people have to realize that just because he was spectacular at Ohio State playing under Coach Day and his offense and being groomed by the head coach and also the quarterback coach and also the play caller, where you have a defensive head coach at Kirby Smart at Georgia, they were going to be running the same offense that they're running now. A lot of power O left, power O right, jet sweep to the wide receiver, take a shot. That's the offense Justin Fields was going to be running. So you think Justin Fields would have been Justin Fields that we saw and loved at Ohio State at Georgia? No, he'd have been put in a box and not been able to showcase his talents.
Fromm would have been better at Ohio State than at
anybody Georgia. Would be better at Ohio State than playing that prehistoric offense that they play at Georgia. Plain and simple. And for anybody that disagrees, why do you think Alabama switched up their offense? Alabama don't run the same style of offense they used to run. They spread things out. They open it up. They take shots. And miraculously, now they're getting 5-star quarterbacks instead of AJ McCarron.
Yeah, in Ohio State, that's the same thing. Like the quality, the biggest jump for Ohio State and Alabama, it's been the quarterback play, which there's a trickle-down effect. You get the great quarterbacks, Now the great receiver. Like, let's be honest, Ohio State's never had a shortage of talent on their roster, but it's not like it's been a QB factory or a wide receiver factory or this or that. They've always had great running backs. That's who Ohio State is. They've never had a problem getting running backs. Never had a problem on the defensive side of the ball till recently for whatever reason. But I think that's a scheme thing. They're getting the 4 and 5 stars. That hasn't been a problem. But everyone's like, man, all of a sudden we're getting a different class between Julian Fleming and Garrett Wilson and, Chris Olave. You look at all these great receivers. That's just, Ohio State's always had a history of a great receiver, every, recruiting class or whatever, but you're getting an entire talented room. Well, why is that? No one, that receiving class would not want to come play with the Craig Krenzel style quarterback. No offense to JT Barrett. JT Barrett wasn't going to get that quality of a wide receiver to continue to commit to playing that style of play. You were going to get athletes, and Urban Meyer went out and got athletes. That was his thing with wide receivers. I mean, he went out and took less talented wide receivers, but got the speed guys and ended up elevating their careers because of that. But, at the end of the day right now, why do you think you're getting the Garrett Wilsons and you're getting the Julian Flemings and you're getting these receivers? Yes, it's because wide receivers coach, of course, is doing a fantastic job to help recruiting there, but they have great talent to throw it to them. There's a reason to go there. Wide receivers have a reason to go to Ohio State now. Why do you think Alabama's getting the best receivers in football now? Because now they get to go play with the Mac Joneses of the world, the Tua Tagovailoas of the world, the Bryce Youngs of the world. Ohio State can provide to wide receivers now. Now there's a trust within the perception of Ohio State football. If you're a wide receiver in the area and you're thinking about wanting to go play college football, Ohio State's, you're sold on them already because you trust that they're going to have a quarterback to throw it to you. Alabama, same thing.
And a scheme.
That wouldn't have been the case. It would have been like Georgia. Well, I can go play at Georgia. They're a hell of a program. They're in the playoff almost every year. They're top 5 every year. Yeah, but that scheme isn't really attractive. I'll go to a less talented team to a scheme that fits my needs versus going to a better team to where I'm just kind of, just off to the side a little bit. So it is what it is, but it's going to be interesting. 518-1410. Kev, who we have?
I don't know. I lost the paper that I wrote it down.
All right. Is this Charlie?
What's going on?
How are you, sir?
I'm good. Hey, Kev, by the way, you're not guilty by association.
Thank you.
If it was a Bengals-Steelers game and we were at Paul Brown Stadium and you were wearing Steelers stuff, I'd buy you a beer, no questions asked.
What about me?
I know who you are.
What about me? It's all right. I wouldn't expect you to do anything nice. If I see you at a Bengals game, especially in the fourth quarter, if I saw you at a Bengals game, especially in the fourth quarter, you'd probably be in a bad mood because your quarterback probably threw another fourth quarter interception. So I'll tell you, I'll buy you a beer at a Bengals game just to to help make you feel better.
You ain't gonna have no money after you buy that house.
Yeah.
Hey, Justin, let me tell you what you're in store for, by the way. I was up in my attic getting Christmas stuff out the other day, and my roof started leaking.
Oh,
so get excited. Hey, at least it's over top of the garage, but I'm just telling you, it's a lot of fun out in the house.
I hope that gets better. It's like Joe Burrow in the fourth quarter. No good. I mean, my goodness.
Hey, and I thought, Kev, so this morning, Justin, I thought he was trolling Joe Burrow because he was like, well, nobody ever criticized Joe Burrow when he transferred.
Yeah, that was an awesome me, by the way. You nailed that. That was excellent.
I do it all day at my house, But all I was saying, I was just trying to say that I don't think there was any reason to criticize Joe Burrow because he was there for, 3 years, and he graduated, and he never won the starting job. So why stay?
First of all, so the way you read that was you read it as me saying, well, how come you didn't criticize Joe Burrow? I didn't want him to criticize Joe Burrow. I didn't have a problem with what Joe Burrow did. I'm agreeing with you.
I know,
but you are conditioned, and it's my fault. And it's kind of ironic. I just took a shot at Joe Burrow not even 2 seconds into your phone call. But you are conditioned that anytime I utter the name Joe Burrow, that it's usually some kind of dig at him. But no, I was actually just saying, hey, that Buckeye people like Jay Richardson and others, I'm like, you didn't criticize Justin Fields for transferring to Ohio State. You didn't criticize Joe Burrow for transferring out. Why are we picking on Quinn Ewers? That was the point I was trying to make, is that Quinn Ewers should not be getting any kind of heat at all. That was my point.
And I totally agree with you. And, you're right. You have conditioned me to think that you are digging at Joe Burrow every time you mention him.
Digging, stating facts, say tomato, tomato.
Oh, my God. Look, he did graduate from Ohio State before he transferred. That's pretty honorable. But anyway.
But that's not why he didn't transfer because he graduated. He transferred because he wasn't good enough to win the job. That's why he transferred from Ohio State. Just saying.
So why?
But he graduated so he could play early.
What's that?
You're starting. I'm saying there was no reason to criticize him because he stayed for several years, long enough to graduate, and then he was like
3 years of not winning the job, man.
Well, that's Urban Meyer's fault. And by the way, Urban Meyer is not good at deciding who the best quarterback on his team is. I mean, think about it. Who started ahead of Tim Tebow? Do you remember?
Chris Leak.
Okay, did Tim Tebow start?
Chris Leak did. And they won a national championship. Chris Leak.
Right. Who? Not Tim Tebow, though. Okay, who won the national title for Ohio State? Cardell Jones?
Well, Cardell, but JT started, 11 games?
9 to 11 games. Yeah, there's...
He didn't win the national title, though. Cardell Jones did.
But you had to get there.
I'm just saying,
you don't just show up in the national championship game.
Get him, Kev. Get him.
You got to win the games before you get there.
Well, Cardell Jones is good enough to win a national title. He's good enough to get you there.
Really? Because Cardell was the starter to start that next season, and things didn't go so hot. So I know what you're trying to do.
I think it was a great matchup. I think it was a great matchup for what Cardell did, and I don't think that would have been a great matchup for what JT did. I think it ultimately worked out for everybody involved. You know, unfortunately, JT had to snap his leg for it to happen, but hey, we won a national championship. It'll be all right.
Yeah. But anyway, no, so I'm just talking about there wouldn't be any reason. I understand why people are heated about Quinn Ewers because he's a 17-year-old millionaire, and I'm sure that irritates people. He didn't do anything.
Absolutely does.
But I mean, you're right. I hate to say it, Justin's right. You're right. I mean, if there's no job to win, why stay?
It'd be one thing if the breaking news, Ryan Day announces that there will be an open battle for the QB1 heading into the 2022 season, and then he transferred out. I'd be like, okay, that was a little that's soft or whatever, but you can't stay to compete for a job that's not open. So that's kind of how I view it with that. That's why I didn't have a problem with it. But usually I'm not anti-player, but usually I'm not pro-player either. But I'm pro-player in this situation.
Well, and you know what would be really cool storyline? I know he already said he's going to go back to like a Texas school, but it would be so cool if he went to Notre Dame and won the starting job up there. Oh, man, with Marcus Freeman. Because that's the first game to start the year, right?
Yep.
Right off the bat, yep.
Bring it on.
Man, that would be pretty cool. And I know he's probably going to go to Texas A&M, following Johnny Manziel's footsteps because he is the next Johnny Manziel. But,
by the way, that's not I have no clue. I know you keep trying to this is where people keep getting the crossover of the NFL and college football mixed up. If he's the next Johnny Manziel, that's a great thing for Texas A&M or Texas or any college school that gets him. If we're talking Quinn Ewers in the NFL, if he's the next Johnny Manziel, that's an insult. If we're saying he's the next Tim Tebow in college, that's a compliment. If we're saying he's the next Tim Tebow in the NFL, that's not a compliment. So if Texas Tech, Texas fans, whoever hear you say that, they're like, okay, I'm fine with that. If I'm told as a Buckeye fan that we're going to get a Johnny Manziel type quarterback, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of fine with that. Johnny Manziel, what was wrong with Johnny Manziel in college?
I'm not saying that there was anything wrong with Johnny Manziel. He was up front about his greed, and that's just all I'm saying. I don't have a problem with anybody, especially now that they can be open about making money. That's totally fine. And you're also right about there is no correlation between college and pro. One of my favorite trivia questions of all time is who did Archie Griffin play for in the NFL? Most people don't even know that. He played for the Bengals. He only rushed for 2,000 yards in his career.
See, they ruined his career.
No, they didn't.
They've been ruining careers for decades, man. Poor Archie.
Oh, my God.
Poor Archie. Oh. And if he would have gone to the Browns, I mean...
Come on, man. Oh, all right. Yep, they ruined his career. Oh, Justin, I don't know what to do with you, man. But I thought your guys' college picks for the bowl games were pretty cool. I would have really liked to see Notre Dame and Ohio State play. But also, thinking of it as an exhibition game, because you threw that out there, there's nothing wrong with that. Like if you're freaked out because your wide receivers aren't going to play, hey, you get to see the kids that are going to be up for next year, and it's an exhibition game. So what's the big deal?
See, and I'm with you. But now that I have this weird beef with these moronic Utah fans, they're too stupid to understand that, like, okay, if Ohio State's offense looks flat against them and CJ Stroud's numbers drop because there's no Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson, like, oh, here he goes with the excuse. I'm like, why do we take the number one reason why a team could be impacted from a production standpoint and just label that as, oh, here we go with the excuse? No, that sometimes it's not an excuse. It's the reason. I'm not saying Ohio State's going to struggle without those guys, but to sit here and expect them to be as dominant without those guys is kind of silly. But there is a competitive side to these exhibition games that mean nothing. But once you get on the field, there is that competitive nature there. So it will be interesting nonetheless.
Well, you know what? Utah, I don't even know what to say about. I mean, it's like you play out there on the West Coast and, you know, you dominate Oregon. Like, okay, you beat Oregon and we barely lost Oregon. So you're trying to equate that by
they also lost to Oregon State. And they said, oh, well, and about 90% of the responses to that I get are, yeah, well, that was at the beginning of the season. We're a different team. And I said, well, that's Ohio State lost to Oregon by 1 possession in week 2. So I have no clue what the hell you're talking about. But anyways.
How many Heisman semifinalists do they have?
I don't know. Did you know? But they have a 6-game win streak against teams that have beat us. So they have that going for them. That's what I've been told. They argue weird. They flex weird, dude. Utah fans made fun of me because, you know, Ohio State had to backdoor their way into the Rose Bowl. They earned their way to the Rose Bowl. I said, that's a weird flex. That's like a mid-major team bragging about qualifying for the NIT. Like that's, or I didn't say that's like a mid-major. I said that's as mid-major. Like that's a mid-major mindset of at least we're going to the NIT. For some programs, the NIT is a big deal. All right. And that's fine. But don't sit there and pretend to be better than a team like an Ohio State that looks at the Rose Bowl as a step down. Like if they are a championship or bust program, being in the Rose Bowl, I don't care how significant or historic the Rose Bowl is, that is a step back. That is not what they didn't come into the season saying, guys, let's fight to get to the Rose Bowl. No, they wanted to get to the national championship game. So I don't care if it's elitist. I don't care if it's cocky and arrogant. They can kick rocks for all I care. Bottom line is they're a loser program. The fact that they're bragging, I mean, the fan, Charlie, actually, like me and you have heated debates. You at least make sense at times. These guys sit here and say, "Oh well, we earned our way to the Rose Bowl." I said, "What? That's a weird flex. That's a weird brag, man. Like you guys don't even. I could tell they don't know how to brag about being in big games because they're never there. It's so weird."
Well, you know what? They have a chance to earn a Rose Bowl ring if they can beat Ohio State. They're not going to. And
I mean, to be fair, the team, I'm taking it out on the team. The team's really good. The team can beat Ohio State. I'm not picking them to beat Ohio State, but every strength that they have goes again. It's not a good matchup for Ohio State's deficiencies, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They have a hell of a running back. They have a capable passing game. But Ohio State, they're going to put up points in bunches. But if they don't have Garrett Wilson and no Chris Olave, that could impact it. They're going to have to really rely on Trevion Henderson at that point. And, Julian Fleming and some other guys are going to have to step up. But who knows?
Well, I think the only way you're ever going to get credibility back, and I don't know if it was Kev, one of you guys said, like basically, as soon as the BCS started, the meaning behind like the Rose Bowl, that's over. Like once they started doing these semifinals and all that stuff, the only way I think they can really you'll never restore the Rose Bowl to like it's the big Pac-12 Big Ten. That's their game. Like that'll never happen again. But
yeah, like they call it the granddaddy of them all. I'm like, it's kind of like the stepdaddy of them all now. It's I don't know. I don't know, man.
Well, it's an old stadium and it's fine. It's totally whatever.
Yep. And Charlie, we got like 30 seconds.
All right. Well, I'm just saying the only way that they can get any kind of credibility back is by expanding the playoffs and making a meaningful game happen in that stadium every year. But there is no real Rose Bowl game left to be played. So, hey, you guys have a good one.
No, real quick on the way out, I do have a question for you. The Bengals 7-5. Do you realize that if Joe Burrow doesn't throw an interception in overtime against the Packers, if he doesn't throw an interception with a chance to take the lead in the fourth quarter against the Jets, if he doesn't throw 3 picks against the Bears, that they'd be 10-2 right now?
Yeah,
that's
think we're
crazy.
that
I can't
good.
believe your quarterback is losing you games. That's
hey,
nuts.
you guys are 6-6, and it's because you're not good.
No,
So-
injured, but that's pretty crazy. Did you know that the Bengals have a losing record when they let quarterback aficionado Joe Burrow throw for over 30 times a game? Did you know that?
What are you doing?
I wanted to impart some wisdom on you on your way out. I want you to be a smarter Bengals fan when you're out
You
driving
guys have
around
been in
town. I
last
want you
place
to
for like the
represent
whole
yourself
year.
better.
I didn't even know. Okay, so nobody cares about Cleveland. Nobody even talks about Cleveland no more on the radio. Don't even know what you're doing right now. Everybody talks about the Bengals.
Is a bye week. Is basically like what you guys just had this past week. You guys didn't even show up.
They're embarrassing. Why would anybody ever talk about Cleveland?
That's all we do is talk about Cleveland. People love Cleveland.
You guys scored 10 points a game. I'm supposed to be impressed.
That's pretty bad, isn't it? I agree with you. I'm not bragging about the Browns.
To the Steelers.
See, the difference between you and I is like I'll tell you when my team's bad, and Cleveland is bad right now. You have the numbers in front of you, and you continue to try to tell me how great Joe Burrow and the Bengals are. That's all. But the run game and the defense is why the Bengals have a shot to make the playoffs. Joey B is why they're not going to make the playoffs. I just wanted.
Okay.
No, that's not an opinion. That's a fact.
Why you have a crappy quarterback. That's why you don't.
Come on, Charlie.
You
Come on,
don't
gather. We got to regather yourself here. You are all flustered.
You're
always so
the
confident.
Steelers-
Go away, Charlie. Oh man, I had to get you one, man. You always call it and catch me off guard and get me all fired up, and I wanted to return the favor. But my
That was low.
that Bengals fan, Charlie.
That was low.
Poor guy, his roof's leaking, and I'm over here just poking a hole in his excitement for his team. Charlie's a good dude. We'll be back. That was pretty funny, actually. I don't care.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, right here on ESPN 1410 Wing AM.
If coming up with a perfect gift idea is making you feel a little like the Grinch, Roosters can put you in the giving spirit. For every $50 of gift cards purchased, you'll receive a $10 Roosters Holiday Buck to enjoy Roosters award-winning wings and so much more. Don't be a Grinch. How dare you! We all know it's better to give than receive, right? What could be better than giving and receiving? Go to roosterswings.com for more info or drop by any of our locations and purchase your gift cards today. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas from Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers. $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's right, $5,000 sign-on bonus. Home daily dedicated lanes, no-touch freight. Apply today at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Menards has everything for your backyard feathered friends with a vast selection of wildlife supplies. Attract a variety of birds with Enchanted Garden Birdseed, available in many high-quality seed types and blends. The easy grab and pour handle makes carrying and filling the feeder simple. Grab a 20-pound bag of Enchanted Garden sunflower seeds for $10.99. Sale price good through December 24th. Plus, a Menards gift card is always a great gift idea.
Looking for the perfect holiday gift for someone on your list? Surprise the family with a membership to Walnut Grove Country Club. Walnut Grove has it all: a challenging golf course, leagues for men and women, a kids golf program, large pool, lots of social activities, great food, and the most fun Friday nights in town, all in a friendly, comfortable atmosphere. Call Caitlin at Walnut Grove and lock in a single or family membership for next year at 2021 prices. Walnut Grove Country Club. It's where you belong.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Wrap up the savings now during the JCPenney Friends and Family Sale. Through Wednesday, make everyone's spirit bright with an extra 30% off coupon. Pack more for less with the Protocol Simmons 5-piece luggage set, now $109.99. Plus, get glam and save up to 60% on diamond solitaires and studs. These savings are yours when you use your 30% off coupon. Joy, comfort, peace. JCPenney. Offers valid on select items through 12/8. Offers reflect after coupon savings. Exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Napa know-how.
Right now, a 5-quart jug of Napa full synthetic motor oil is only $19.99. It's the hottest deal of the year for the coldest time of the year. So if you're in your car right now, there's no need to turn on the heat. I'm about to read this sizzler again. That's Napa full synthetic for a hot $19.99. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating locations does not include taxes and fees. Advertised sale price not available in some states. Offer ends 12/31/21.
Need a U.S. passport? We can help. Hi, this is Mike Foley, your Montgomery County Clerk of Courts. Visit one of our convenient auto title locations in Huber Heights, Clayton, downtown, Moraine, and Centerville. Make us your first destination before you travel abroad. No appointments ever needed. We do passports.com for more info.
Find gifts like a DeWalt 2-tool 20-volt max brushless drill kit. Was $229, now $149 at Lowe's Winterfest. While supplies last, U.S. only, valid through 12/8.
Take home Frickers Holiday Feast. Frickin' yum, 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 yum. Our gift cards always please. Frickin' yum, 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 yum.
Take home 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks for only $29.99, carry out only. Buy a $25 Frickers gift card and you'll get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. The ho, ho, ho! For fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Frickin' yum, yum.
The People's Choice Awards, hosted by Keenan Thompson, is the only award show chosen by you, the people. So let Keenan hear you.
With nominees in every category.
TV,
movies,
music, pop culture,
and performances from your favorite artists.
Christina Aguilera,
Blake Shelton.
some cool surprises,
Plus huge icon award winners.
Halle Berry,
Dwayne Johnson, Kim Kardashian West,
and more.
Hosted by me, Keenan Thompson. The People's Choice Awards, live tonight on NBC and E. And the red carpet starts first, live from E.
From city streets to back roads, from road warrior to carpooler, there are some things you can always count on, like the reliability, durability, and power of DieHard, America's most trusted auto battery. No matter where your journey takes you, count on DieHard to get you started on the road ahead. Available at your local Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest stores.
OHMB 803342 and MLS 304138. Do you need help with a loan to purchase or refinance your home? Have you applied for a home loan and been told you do not qualify for a loan? Are you a first-time buyer and have questions regarding the home buying process? Are you considering refinancing your existing home? Do you live in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Florida, or South Carolina? If you answered yes to any of the above questions, you need to call Forrest Ferris at 3rd Street Financial Home Loans at 513-320-5911, who is available 7 days a week to help you. We're 3rd Street Financial Home Loans, and Forrest Ferris specializes in approving home loans banks and other lenders cannot or will not approve. Some of our clients might have low credit scores, been through a divorce, want to buy a home for sale by owner, are in a land contract, or dealing with probate or estate homes. Call Forrest now for a free estimate, 513-320-5911. That's 513-320-5911. Offer valid for purchase or refinancing of homes located in Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Florida, and South Carolina only. Minimum loan amount $60,000. Limitations and restrictions apply.
Fever is a potential sign of COVID or the flu, and the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Be accurate with Exergen. Exergen temporal scanners, available at Walmart and other fine retailers. Learn more at Exergen.com. That's EXERGEN.com. Exergen is changing the way the world takes temperature.
Audible is best-selling audiobooks, exclusive originals, and podcasts all in one app. This holiday season, treat yourself with 60% off your first 3 months. Just visit audible.com for more details.
Don't miss the only weekly hour of radio dedicated to Dayton Flyers basketball. It's Talking Out Loud, hosted by Sully. Thursday nights at 6 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM, and online at wingam.com. We're live. We're local.
What are you gonna miss? He struck him out.
We're Dayton's ESPN radio station. Now, let's send it to the WING studios for Dayton's only local sports talk show. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, presented by Orion Sports Medicine.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. Well, I said earlier that I found the matchup with Utah for Ohio State just to be very underwhelming. It is. It's underwhelming, and I don't know why. Utah, I mean, I do know why, but look, Utah, it's just, I don't know. It's just Utah, man. And like, the thing is, it's hard because it's not that I don't respect Utah. Well, I don't, but I mean, I just don't respect the Pac-12. That conference irritates the hell out of me because they have, I mean, Kev, the thing is, think about life. Where do people who really want to challenge themselves, I'm going to sound like Colin Cowherd here, but I'm not trying to, but just hear me out. The people that want to challenge themselves and be successful, I'm not saying you can't do that anywhere else, but like the perception is you go to Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. The perception is you go to the West Coast. The perception is it's nicer there. You can make more money there. That's where you go to pursue your dreams, right? As if you can't do that anywhere else. But like, that's the perception. And it's true. How can Urban Meyer, how can Jim Tressel, let's just go back decades, but how could Jim Tressel, how could Urban Meyer, how can Ryan Day go to California and convince guys to come to Ohio to play? How is that possible? How can you go to Texas? How can you go to Florida? Beautiful weather. People go to Florida to retire. That's where you go to enjoy life. You go to Los Angeles, you go to Florida, you go to these places to enjoy life. And Urban Meyer and Ryan Day and these guys, they go to the best parts of this country to bring them and convince them to come live and make a career and make a future for themselves in cold, rainy, freezing, cloudy, dull, I love it here, by the way, Ohio. And that is what is amazing to me, is that you're either elite or you're not. I don't want to hear about I hear about Notre Dame all the time. I'm tired of hearing about Notre Dame that, it's a little difficult because they have the high academic standards and blah, 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 blah. If you're elite, the best of the smart nerds will come play for you, okay? And that's the case. Notre Dame still misses out on guys. That's why I love Marcus Freeman. Marcus Freeman has started to, he's picked up the recruiting at that program, and it pains me. I love Marcus Freeman, man. I really do. But I hate Notre Dame. I have never been so conflicted. This is what it would be like if like Luke Fickell took the Michigan job or something. I'd be like, God, what is wrong with you? Why would you do that? That's where I am with Marcus Freeman. But the difference is I could be a little bit more lenient with Notre Dame than Michigan for obvious reasons.
Yeah, no.
So the point is there are so many reasons why Ohio State should not be elite. There are so many reasons why Notre Dame should not be elite. There are so many reasons why the Cincinnati freaking Bearcats should not be elite. They should not be in the playoff. And what I mean by that is this. It's Cincinnati. It's Ohio. It's cold. It's miserable. It's rainy. If I want to go play college football, why would I pick cold, rainy, miserable weather to do it in? That almost hurts my chances of being able to put my talent on full display. I would rather play in nicer, warmer, better weather that I would be able to put my talents on full display and never have to worry about it. My point is this. I hate the Pac-12. They are the most whiny, annoying, excuse-making conference for a conference that has all those teams are in the most beautiful parts of this country. They have the most beautiful weather. They have so much, they're gigantic states with the most talent over there. There is no excuse why the majority of the Pac-12, pretty much the entire Pac-12 sucks. How can USC be so damn bad? How can UCLA be so damn bad? Utah, Oregon, there is absolutely no excuse. And then when there's talks of the college football playoff expansion, their commissioner is the one leading the push. We need to expand the playoff. That it is not fair, that there is bias. There is not bias against your crap-ass conference. There is no one on that committee that is looking at a potential national champion in the Pac-12 and keeping you out. the committee does everything they can to try to get the Pac-12 in. That's why Oregon's always there at the end. That's why Utah's right there. They always constantly do this to try to get, they throw them a life raft. They're like, come on, swim. I can't swim for you, but I could at least provide a life raft to give you a chance. Oregon, you beat Ohio State, and then you go on and you lose 3 games, and 2 of those are to the same opponent. And 2 of those, one of them's a very bad Stanford team, and then the other 2, you just got your teeth kicked in by a marginal Utah team who, if you beat Ohio State, how do you lose to Utah twice in blowout fashion and lose to Stanford? I just don't understand. There is no excuse for teams on the West Coast, for teams in the Pac-12 to be as poor as they are. They haven't made the playoffs since 2016. Kev looked that up yesterday. I thought it was the Oregon team that made it in 14 that lost to Ohio State in the championship game. I forgot about Washington. That's who else you've spit in the playoff. Washington. That's who else you've gotten in the playoff. Give me a break. The West Coast, so their commissioner, we need to give more teams a chance. No, what you want is you want your teams to continue playing crap football, and by expanding the field, you're going to still get in. Like hell, forget the fact that you're not going to hold your teams to a high expectation of actually becoming good enough to compete with the Ohio States of the world and all that. I know they just beat Ohio State out of Oregon, but I mean from a national perception, there's times where you're going to beat an Ohio State. You might trip up in Alabama or an LSU or a good program here and there. But it doesn't mean that you have overtaken that program. Like Utah fans chirping today as if Oregon is just better than Ohio State. I'm like, look, I'm making no excuses. Ohio State should not have lost to Oregon, but they did, and they have no one to blame but themselves, and there's literally no excuse. It was just a bad game. They played a solid game. Oregon just played a really good game and beat them. Did anyone decommit from Ohio State because, oh man, we need to go to Oregon because that's the actual O that runs the country? No. Like in college basketball, upsets happen all the time. We just watched Dayton. I'm not putting Dayton on the level of the Alabama footballs of the world. I'm just saying Dayton lost to Lipscomb. Lipscomb. What the hell did I do? Lipscomb, whatever the hell they are. Lipscomb. They lost to some 3 horrible, disgustingly bad teams who they have no business losing to. Does anyone believe that those teams are better than Dayton? No. Not even big old UD hater Kenner believes that. Upsets happen, losses happen, but it takes years of big wins to change the perception of a program. Like Michigan. They beat Ohio State for the first time in a decade, get to the playoff for the first time in its existence, and those fans are chirping. We're letting it slide right now because, it's fun for them, but like after that, you need to just remember it's the first time in 10 years you've beat Ohio State, and it's the first time you've ever made the college football playoff. Don't embarrass us, huh? So I hate the Pac-12 because there is no reason in that geographical area over there for those teams to collectively be as poor as they are. And so when I sit here and I'm evaluating this Ohio State-Utah matchup, I don't care what the Rose Bowl used to be. The Rose Bowl used to be significant. You know what else used to be significant? The NIT. The NIT in college basketball, that was the fill in the blank. That was the beep. That was it. You strive to get to the NIT. You wanted to win the NIT. The NIT was the bee's knees. That was everything. That made your program. Now, it's like a slap in the face to get the NIT invite. I was looking at this earlier. I found it interesting. Louisville, Xavier, Seton Hall, St. John's, Duke, all rejected NIT invites last year. All. But hey, the NIT used to be significant. It used to be the bee's knees. It used to be the real deal. Now it's an insult to them. The Rose Bowl. And we're conditioned now as fans by hearing and talking about the college football playoff so much. The college football playoff is all that matters. If you are not in the playoff, it does not matter. Ohio State is built to be a championship or bust program, and I don't even like going that far. I don't think it's fair to put any program at that level. I know, Kev, you say that. To me, it's playoff or bust. If Ohio State makes the playoff 5 straight years and loses in the semifinals all 5 years, yes, I'm going to be pissed, but you know what? They should live in the playoff. Alabama, in the 8 years of the college football playoff, or 7 or whatever, they've missed it once. That's the expectations I have for Ohio State, and whether, and don't make excuses for them. I think if you talk to Ryan Day at the beginning of every season, he would say, we see ourselves in the college football playoff. And they should. You don't do what you do on the recruiting trail. You don't do what you do on the field. You don't do everything that Ohio State does to say, well, you win some, you lose. No, that's Pac-12 football. So that's why I'm so just about this Utah matchup, because I want to get ramped up. I want to be like, man, at least it's the Rose Bowl. But it's not the Rose Bowl anymore. You can call it the Rose Bowl. You could play the game in Pasadena, but it's not like the Rose Bowl. It's just the Rose Petal Bowl. It's just the Rose Bowl. It's just, and maybe it's because here's who I blame. Everybody blames the college football playoff. I did earlier, but the more and more I've thought about it, I blame the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is why this matchup sucks. The Pac-12 is why the Rose Bowl is just kind of to me. It's because the best of the best used to compete in the Rose Bowl. You would strive to get to the Rose Bowl. I have a hard time believing that Ohio State started the season saying, let's get to the Rose Bowl, guys, and maybe we'll accidentally end up in the playoff. No one strived to get to the Rose Bowl. That's why I've been going at it with Utah fans all day today on Twitter, because they're a bunch of freaking morons, and yesterday and probably all day tomorrow too. At this point, those fans made fun of Ohio State because they said Ohio State had to rely on Michigan beating Iowa to get Ohio State into the Rose Bowl. They were pumping their chest and proud of themselves because they won their way into the Rose Bowl. I said, that's a weird flex. Who brags about who earning an NIT bid? No, but that's mid-major. For mid-majors, by the way, I'm not judging mid-majors. That's a great accomplishment for mid-majors, because it's almost impossible to make the NCAA tournament unless you win your conference tournament. So that's a big deal. That's college basketball. This is college football, and this is a team that's trying to pretend to be one of the big boys, taking shots at Ohio State. Like Ohio State's a loser because, they had to rely on Michigan beating Iowa for them to get to the Rose Bowl. Kick rocks, by the way. Like, that's a weird flex. And that's what I mean. Like, that's their view of success. And show me who your, what's that saying, Kev? Show me who your friends are. I'll show you who you are. What is that?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm butchering it. I should have had it ready to go. But like, that's the fans, the way that they're acting right now, Utah. Like, that shows what kind of a loser conference and program it is, because the bar is so low. You will not find one Ohio State fan that is bragging about qualifying for the Rose Bowl. You will find a million Buckeye fans pissed off that they're not in the playoff. And all right, well, at least I guess we at least got the Rose Bowl. Utah, they're good. And 3-loss Utah. It'll be a good game. Good competition. Let's just go get a win and close out the season with some momentum. Every time I talk to a Buckeye fan, you can hear the angst in their voice. They're trying to convince themselves that everything's going to be okay. But Utah fans, this is their Super Bowl. This is their playoff. This is their national championship. And why shouldn't it be? They have the Ohio State University waiting for them in the Rose Bowl. So everyone that's on me about my elitism and all this, yes, you should be proud to have an elitist mindset when you are a Buckeye fan, because your program has put you in that position to believe that way. Like, that's the thing at the end of the day. And that's why I'm just sitting here saying, hey, you know what? Everything for Ohio State, I just can't get into it with Utah. I'm just not, I'm not into it. I'm just not into it. I'm getting some reports that Ohio State has just made news as far as defensive coordinators concerned. I don't have the full report, but I have a feeling the guy waiting on hold is going to have that information, so that's a good thing. But I want to cap off this part of the conversation here. I want to be all warm and fuzzy inside for the Rose Bowl. And sure, I could say all the right things and say it's the granddaddy of them all, but it's just like the stepdaddy of them all. I just kind of like, I don't get all warm and fuzzy inside anymore. And I blame the Pac-12 because maybe, just maybe, if there was a good, an actual elite team to go up against. But it's like Utah, they're a 3-loss team that one of them was to Oregon State. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. It is my elitist mindset, Kev. I have a lot of things that I need to go to therapy for. And maybe they
starting with Twitter.
But like, maybe there's a therapist out there that can help me fight through this elitist mindset so that I can be like Utah and just set the bar super low and just be like, I just hope we have fun this year. Oh man, I hope everyone sings Kumbaya. We'll just clap hands and we'll just be best of friends. It's the Utah football way, the Utes. The Pac-12. Give me a break. Anyways, 518-1410. But apparently, I think Ohio State has a defensive coordinator.
Yes,
They hired somebody. I don't know, but if it's who I think it is. I don't know if fans are going to be happy. What do you have?
Jim Knowles, he's the defensive coordinator at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State had one of the best defenses in college football. And, how we were talking about this last week about, why the Big 12 doesn't play defense. Well, the last 2 years, Big 12's defenses have been better than the vaunted SEC defenses. And
Ohio State's defense.
And we got Tennessee Jeff online too, and I'm sure he has more information about it.
What up, Tennessee Jeff? How are you, sir?
Dang you, Kevin. I waited an hour and you stole my thunder. Oklahoma State, DC, Jim Knowles is now Ohio State defensive coordinator. As of earlier today, I learned that earlier today.
Man, you could have broke the news. I should have brought you on sooner. My apologies.
That's what Kevin gets paid for, man. I'm just kind of checking you guys out. This is your show. So a few things. It took me 10 days. I think I was on the Keith Byers show the other day with you, Justin. I think that was you with Keith. Took me 10 days, and I'm kind of just climbing out of bed after 10 long days after Ann Arbor. I drove home after that game. I took my friend, took her up to Detroit to the airport, and then I drove back to the kind of like a snowstorm. We had big plans that night, but I drove home, and I've been kind of sulking ever since. I've got 6 tickets to the Rose Bowl. I agree with you guys on a lot of things. I'm with you on the Utah thing, but I get really, again, come April when I'm at the shoe for the spring game, I'm thinking just like you guys, everybody else, national title or bust. But I didn't even catch if you said it, Justin, but I saw a lot of things earlier today as far as the Rose Bowl being an exhibition game. That's just ridiculous. We're spoiled and we're Buckeyes. We want national titles, but I've been out there once, Urban's last game, and that it's amazing. So I'm not happy to be. I'd much rather be down in Atlanta or in Miami, but it is what it is. And I thought all week long.
Here's where real quick on that. So I see what you're saying too, but I believe anything that's not a playoff game is an exhibition game. What I'm willing to meet you halfway on, and maybe is that outside of the college football playoff, the only experience is the Rose Bowl. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
You don't have to change your view. I'm just saying, I see what you're saying too. I'm conflicted with it. It's kind of like the NIT in college basketball. Now it's completely disrespected. Nobody cares about the NIT. But there was a weird period of time where it was kind of hard to talk bad about the NIT because that's what everyone loved. And you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm at with the Rose Bowl.
Absolutely, man.
But the Pac-12, Utah, come on. They're the reason why it's not exciting to get. That would be like other teams prepping to play one of the top teams from the Big Ten and having to prep for this year's Iowa team. It's like, really? That's what we're getting? That's how I feel with Utah.
As far as the Pac-12, I believe, and this will go against the grain, I think this will happen. I've heard nothing of the sort. I think Quinn Ewers will be the next quarterback in Los Angeles for Lincoln Riley. I think he'll play for USC. And I think
that's what I said last week. Everyone's like, oh, no, he's just going to take that Wilson kid from Oklahoma. And I'm like, well, I'm sure he will. But if you have a chance to get Quinn Ewers, you're not going to say, no, I'm good.
No, he's going after him. Garrett Wilson will not play in the Rose. I think Garrett will leave. I talked to Garrett last night at his signing. He didn't say, but I'm kind of good at reading manner. He will not play, and I think he'll leave for the draft in the spring.
How do you feel about that, man? How do you feel about you're close? I'm always conflicted on it, but how do you feel about it?
As far as what?
Those guys opting out of these games and stuff
So Tony Alford's a friend of mine, our running back coach, and he kind of set me straight, and we kind of were. He had a beef with me. I was wondering why is he not talking to me like he used to come up to me? But and we talked. I'm gonna tell you what happened, man. I ripped. I don't know who it was. One of his backs. I forget. A few years back, I went off on this guy for opting up. You know what? We had a long talk. Actually, Tuesday before the Michigan game, we talked back and forth on Messenger. And he's like, Jeff, man, they're still kids. Careful with you, because I'll just rip. I don't care. I'm just going to tell you how I feel.
Me and you are on the same page on that one, Jeff.
So I don't know. I'll say this about this particular fella. Garrett Wilson has given us some spectacular games. Garrett Wilson is without a doubt a first-round pick. Garrett Wilson is a better wide receiver than Chris Olave. Again, I'll get pushback. I just think he's better. I think Smith will be better than both of them. This particular case, I think Garrett Wilson, I'm okay with him, man. I mean, he's Kevin said earlier about an hour ago about getting a gift bag or a gift card. Come on, man. He's going to get – well, Kevin, you're right, though, versus if he opts out or if he tears his ACL and he misses out on a $4 or $5 million signing bonus in the first round in April. So I'm okay with it because of just who this is. Now, if it's a – it's just case by case. Can I tell you guys a story about Trayvon Henderson at the tunnel at the Michigan game?
Yep.
Okay, so this is awesome. So I'm at the tunnel, and I don't know if you guys have ever got the pleasure to meet this kid. I love this kid. This kid, I don't know if you saw my post. This kid is so there's, those fans are, I freaking hate those fans up in Ann Arbor, and everybody's at the tunnel. And it was just, by the way, that fan base, like I told you on the Keith Fire Show, willed that team to victory. Them and Hutchinson, it was just amazing. It was an amazing atmosphere. I'm not giving them props, but dude, that crowd was non-stop for 3.5 hours. So that was nuts. Trayvon Henderson was out of the tunnel, and he's with Olave and Garrett Wilson and Master, right? No. I don't know. He's 3 or 4. I'm sure I was with him. And these fans were barking at him. And Henderson, and I've got to know Henderson at the Penn State game when people run on the field. I met him at the Woody in the spring. And I can see this kid's so talented. He's so good. He came out, and these fans were chirping at him. And I swear to God, there was a tarp. I don't know why there was a tarp along that tunnel against where we were standing. He jumped up on that tarp, and I can't say what he said on the radio, but it was like, what? So this dude thought Trayvon was going to come in the stands and beat his head in. I mean, Trayvon's just a beast.
No malice at the palace action, huh?
Right. So it was just, again, it's kind of obnoxious, but just to see that in the moment in 18 minutes before kickoff, and just, so last thing I'll say, so that was kind of cool. I like Trayvon Henderson a lot. 5 minutes and 45 seconds to go at the Michigan game, and I won't bring this up again because I just haven't had a chance to talk to you since the Michigan game. We scored and we brought it to 8. We brought the lead. We cut the lead to 8. And I'm with my friend Kelly. I said, Kelly, let's go. And she looked at me like I had 4 heads. And she said, Jeff, I said, listen to me. It's snowing. I got to drive you up an hour to Detroit. I want to go back to Centerville, dude. I'm done. She said, what are you talking? We're down 8 points. I said, listen. Between our walk from here to the golf course where we parked, about a 12-minute walk, we'll hear that stadium erupt again. What do you mean? I said, they're going to score. We haven't stopped them the whole freaking game. So so basically my story is, and nobody believes I did this, I actually left when we pulled within 8 in the fourth quarter with 5 and change to go because I knew they would score again. We couldn't stop them. And like you said, C.J. Stroud doesn't play defense. So Knowles is our new DC, number 3 defense in the I think it was Pac-12. I mean, not, my bad, Big 12 or total defense. But the guy's he's fairly young. I think they'll keep Coombs because he's a great recruiter. He'll keep Coombs in the back end. I think Larry Johnson will retire. These are all I thinks. I'm pretty sure linebacker coach Alvin Washington will not be retained. So there'll be a ton of defensive changes. We'll be good to go on offense. I'm not crazy excited about the Rose Bowl, but I'm looking out my window right now in Centerville. It's snowing, dude. So in 2 weeks, I'll be in 65-degree weather. So I'm kind of excited about that. So, who do you guys? Does Michigan have a shot to beat Georgia in the semis? Your opinions?
Yes, I think they do.
Wow,
I think they do. They bring a ton of heat off the edge. And Will Anderson, the outside linebacker from Alabama, was getting to the quarterback at will. And guess what? Michigan has 2 dudes that can get to the quarterback at will. We saw that for ourselves. Yeah. So I think they have a chance. It's going to be one of those old school games, a lot of running the ball, a lot of defense. So I think it's going to be very similar to the first game of the season with Clemson and Georgia. It's going to be one of those type of games. Yeah. Old school.
Can Cincinnati beat Alabama?
I don't
think they're going to win, but I think the game is going to be a lot closer than what people believe because the style of defense that UC runs has given Alabama problems like press man coverage that they ran against them first. LSU gave them issues, same defense that gave them trouble against, who do they play? In Auburn. So, like, they get up on the receivers and play press man, so they don't allow a ton of free releases and they don't really play a ton of zone coverage. So, the style of defense, I think it'll give them trouble, but I don't think they really can block Alabama up front
Yeah, style of
keep them off.
The style of defense is one thing, but I just look the Cincinnati thing. I'm happy for Luke Fickell. It's cool for the state of Ohio to still have a team, representing the state in the playoff. But I think that they have enough talent as far as on the field to be able to make things interesting, but I don't think they have the depth. And I think that it doesn't matter about the scheme. I think at a certain point, just overall willpower and talent's going to take over, and it's no fault to Cincinnati's whatsoever. Their accomplishment was just getting there. Not saying it's a 0% chance, but I think, anyone out there that if let's say Cincinnati wins, and if anyone out there says I knew they were going to win, you're all full of, and I'll say a word that gets me suspended, because nobody out there truly believes Cincinnati's going to win this game. So I'm not going to fall into that trap. But at the same time, never say never, but never.
Last thing, you were originally taking calls a while back for Quinn Ewers, and I truly believe, and I've talked with him, and I've watched his. I'm big on watching pregame. This dude's talented, and I saw something on social media where he's going to be Johnny Manziel. Look, I believe. By the way,
that's not a bad thing. Johnny Manziel was great.
That's right. That's right. And I think he'll play for. I truly think he'll play out well. I think he's going to play for USC. And nobody's ever told me. I just think Lincoln's going to go after him. I think this guy will be incredible. He'll start immediately, and he came in for that 1.4 that he got here with the NIL. So kudos to him, man. Hope you guys have a good Christmas, and I'll talk to you soon.
Happy holidays, man.
Take care, man.
All right, you too.
Yeah, that might be the last time he talks to you, because
Vacation Man is here, coming soon.
Holy moly. All right, 518-1410. Kev, who we got?
We have Steve.
Steve, how are you?
Hey, I'm good, man. How's it going?
Hanging in there.
Good. I just want to talk about, like you were talking about, the Rose Bowl and all that, but it wasn't just like 3 or 4 years ago that Ohio State crushed USC in the Cotton Bowl?
Yes.
Why couldn't they move that to Pasadena?
That was the year that the Rose Bowl was it was in its rotation for the playoff. That was, you know what I mean? So and that's the other thing I don't like too, is that they preach the importance of the history, or the whatever you want to call it, of the Rose Bowl. So that's why you can't mess with that. You can't you can't mess with that. You can't change it. But you're willing to change it when you make it a part of the college football playoff rotation and non-Pac-12 and non-Big Ten teams playing it. So that's why I get so annoyed when people keep bringing up the tradition of the Rose Bowl. Oh no, we got to keep it this way. You're always willing to make an exception when it's turn for the college football playoff. But no, that's what happened that year.
Okay, but don't they normally sometimes don't they normally have the 4 teams play there, and then they play in the same spot again?
No, there's two sites for the semifinals.
Bowl, Orange Bowl, Rose Bowl, and then the Rose Bowl's a national championship again or something.
That I don't think so. I think the national championship is just the national championship.
Yeah,
I do not believe that's
a separate site itself.
Like it's in Indy this year.
So it's always like the sugar, the orange, or the rose, or it's not like, because I could have swore that they played the Rose Bowl, and then the national championship was going to be back at the Rose Bowl.
They had a Rose Bowl.
Maybe not that. Okay, all right.
But no, to answer your original question, yeah, that is why USC and Ohio State played. That was the Sam Darnold year. That was the year Denzel Ward actually sat out,
right?
Or opted out, whatever. Just kind of forewent the bowl game or whatever. But no, that would have been a Rose Bowl matchup had that not been one of the host sites for the playoff.
So you're telling me that? Okay, wait a minute now. So the two games that were played that year were at the Cotton, the Sugar, and the Orange, and what's the one I'm missing?
Peach Bowl.
And then the national championship was at the Rose Bowl.
No, I don't.
I can't remember. I'm not gonna lie to you.
But I think that was in Georgia. The championship game I thought was in Georgia that year.
I think so.
Because that was when Georgia and Alabama played.
The overtime game.
Yeah.
So then it was the Rose, the Peach, the Cotton, and the Orange, and then the national championship was at the Peach Bowl?
No idea.
That's what I'm trying to get.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm so sorry. But hey, we're up against the clock. I appreciate you calling. But no, that was a good point about the USC game a few years ago.
Right. Okay. Thanks for taking my call, man.
Take care.
Thanks.
No, I'm sorry. I wish I don't have that answer actually, but no, and that's how they try to appease the history of the bowl games, and it's not working. It's not appeasing anything. You don't care which bowl. Do you think all right, we made the playoff, but I want the Peach Bowl. I don't want to play in the Cotton Bowl. I want the Peach Bowl. No, they're just like, okay, we're in the playoff. Who cares? Nobody cares what bowl you're technically playing in. We're talking about matchups today. We didn't care about which bowl it was. We didn't care if it was the Poinsettia Bowl or the Alamo Bowl or this. Is Ohio State, Notre Dame. Don't care what bowl game you got to put them in a bowl. Folks, have a good night. Until tomorrow, it's the Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty, of course. And then we have Orion Sports Medicine, Tim's Bar and Grill on Brown Street. We're going to be live at Tim's this Sunday, by the way. I got more information coming up for you tomorrow. Big Dayton Flyers game that day. And, of course, Sully will be live at Tim's Bar and Grill on Sunday. So I'll have more information for you on the show tomorrow. But until tomorrow, it's been the Justin Kinder Show right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
The Justin Kinder Show with Kev Nash, presented by Brad Mays with Home Experts Realty. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio.
ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be mostly cloudy with snow showers, a high near 32. Tonight will also be mostly cloudy, a low near 25. And tomorrow will be partly cloudy, a high near 40. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Take home Frickers Holiday Feast. Frickin' yum, 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 yum. Our gift cards always please. Frickin' yum, 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 yum.
Take home 4 pounds of frickin' chicken chunks for only $29.99, carry out only. Buy a $25 Frickers gift card and you'll get 5 frickin' bonus bucks free. The ho, ho, ho! For fun, food, sports, and spirits, Frickers.
Frickin' yum, yum.
For the ones who get going when the going gets tough. And the ones who know we're tougher together. For the Pathfinders breaking new ground. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as fast access to experts and 24/7 customer support. Because we know you have people depending on you, so you can always depend on us. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This ad for Hellsberg Diamonds has been specifically written for those who'd rather think about hockey than engagement rings. You're at a game and your team scores the winning goal just as time runs out. Now, if that game is your proposal and you're running out of time to find the perfect engagement ring, Hellsberg Diamonds is your winning shot. Our combination of quality diamonds, wide selection, and a price match guarantee means you can be confident in your Hellsberg Diamonds engagement ring buzzer beater. Visit your local Hellsberg store and ask about our amazing financing options, or check us out at hellsberg.com.
We can't go to Skyline without sitting at the counter.
Skyline gets out their food so fast that it's so interesting on how they do that.
Yeah, we usually don't finish with our crackers before the food comes out.
And so good. I just love Skyline very much.
This is CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger. Do you want to be a hero for the holidays? How about getting your loved one a new iPhone? That's right. Pure Talk has iPhone 12 starting at just $479 through the end of the year.